Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal Venerable, see playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 141, Dawn Level Cultivation Talent. Yi Tian, once reaching the pinnacle of the king level, would have a physical strength of 10,000 elephant power. With Yuan force amplification, it would be 20,000 elephants of force. His pseudo-mystic level strength talent would amplify it by 30 times, and his silver level blade technique, Heavenly Extreme Slash, would add another 12 times. Combining all these, Yi Tian's maximum attack power would reach 7.2 million elephants, which translates to 7.2 dragon power. I'll only have 7.2 dragon power after reaching the pinnacle of the king level. How did the Battle Axe Emperor reach 8.2 dragon power at the king level? This was the first time Yi Tian felt outclassed in terms of talent. However, he wasn't disheartened but rather excited. If he could copy the Battle Axe Emperor's talent, his strength would skyrocket. He speculated that the Battle Axe Emperor must possess a pseudo-mystic level, perhaps even a mystic level strength talent by now, and a top-tier battle axe talent, considering his fame for using an axe. Yi Tian then checked the king level strongest defense record and realized he couldn't break it either. The strongest king realm defense record. Proven to withstand the power of 2 dragons without being seriously injured, Qin Feng. Close black lens bracket. A king level peak martial artist could withstand an attack of their own strength level, which is 20,000 elephant power. With Yi Tian's 50 times amplification from his pseudo-mystic level defense talent, he could withstand 1 dragon power. If he also had the pseudo-mystic level bone talent, he could potentially withstand 1.5 times the attack without serious injury. But to break the record, he would need to replicate another powerful pseudo-mystic level defense talent. Yi Tian found he couldn't break the other records either. There are quite a few freaks in the Zonghai super base. This is good, it means more excellent talents for me to copy. He laughed, planning to copy these talents and eventually break these records. But he decided not to be too ostentatious and break only 2 or 3 records to save others' face. With no immediate way to break any records, Yi Tian left the War God Tower. The cooldown for my copy talent has ended. I can copy 2 more talents now. It's a waste of time to wait outside the War God Tower. I should head directly to the Loose Cultivators Alliance headquarters. There should be some good talents there. Arriving at the Loose Cultivators Alliance headquarters, which wasn't far from the War God Tower, Yi Tian began his search. The Loose Cultivators Alliance headquarters was a massive complex, occupying over 10 square kilometers and comprising 10 floors. While exploring the first floor, Yi Tian sensed 2 moonlight-level talents but only copied 1, as he needed just 1 more to upgrade his own. After about half an hour, he finished exploring the Loose Cultivators Alliance headquarters, finding only 2 moonlight-level talents. Morning Star-level cultivators have a 70–80% chance of reaching the Saint level. With a perfect foundation, it's almost guaranteed. Moonlight-level cultivators have a similar chance of reaching the Emperor level. With my perfect foundation and Moonlight-level talent, I have a 1 in 10 chance of reaching the Emperor level. The strongest in the Zonghai super base are just Emperors, likely without Dawn-level cultivation talents. Thus, the best cultivation talent in the Zonghai super base is probably only at the Moonlight level. From this, Yi Tian deduced that Moonlight-level cultivation talents were extremely rare in the Zonghai super base, with even the Loose Cultivators Alliance having very few. Even accounting for the branches and those outside, the total number wouldn't exceed double digits. Having said that, after my recent venture, I have fused with the Moonlight-level cultivation talent. Now, my talent must have suddenly become the strongest at the Zonghai super base. Yi Tian thought to himself with quiet elation. This was a record in itself, a pity that the War God Steel didn't keep such records. Even if it did, he wouldn't dare reveal his talent. There's still 1 more chance to copy. Yi Tian decided to look further, ideally for a pseudo-mystic level talent. However, he only found 2 pseudo-mystic level talents that he didn't need. One was a pseudo-mystic level fire domain talent, and the other was a pseudo-mystic level water dragon talent. Neither of these pseudo-mystic level talents were of much use to him, he wasn't very satisfied. Well, I'll just copy the pseudo-mystic level fire domain talent. Consider it an extra skill, he thought. With a single thought, the pseudo-mystic level fire domain talent was copied by Yi Tian. Time to head home. Yi Tian didn't linger at the headquarters of the Loose Cultivators Alliance. There were indeed many treasures here, but they were out of his trading range, which was quite embarrassing. Once home, Yi Tian first integrated the pseudo-mystic level fire domain talent and quickly understood its nature. This talent was quite impressive. It was an area of effect attack that could turn dozens of kilometers around into a fiery domain. Any living being within it would be subjected to relentless fire attacks. It's a decent talent, covering one of my weaknesses, and it's a threefold pseudo-mystic level talent at that. Yi Tian mused. He then began integrating the moonlight level cultivation talent. Boom! Unbearable pain engulfed him, yet Yi Tian reveled in it. Bring it on, dawn level cultivation talent. He shouted in his heart. Wave after wave of pain hit him, turning his skin as red as a boiled lobster. After an unknown duration, Yi Tian finally regained consciousness. He had actually fainted. A bit embarrassing, I thought I could endure it. Yi Tian's face blushed, but it was already red. Nonetheless, fainting didn't affect the integration of the talent, which was a success. Question mark opening square bracket. Cultivation talent. Dawn level. Looking at the dawn level cultivation talent, Yi Tian laughed excitedly. Ha ha ha, I'm finally on the same level as Xiao Shui. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing for me, the master, to be only at moonlight level while Xiao Shui is at dawn level. Yi Tian laughed. Sadly, he couldn't share this glory with Xiao Shui, who was in slumber. According to Xiao Shui, it was about to transform from its juvenile phase to its youth phase. Only then would its dawn-level bloodline talent start to unfold, increasing its cultivation speed by who knows how much. I can't wait to try out the cultivation speed of the dawn-level talent. Yi Tian was eager to start. Chapter 142, Third-Rate Top-Level Energy Cultivation Secret Technique. Yi Tian entered the advanced cultivation chamber, drank a sip of king-level ferocious beast blood, and began practicing the purple blood body refining technique. Boom! A far greater amount of heavenly and earthly energy surged into his body than ever before, which could be timely refined into energy to assist Yi Tian in impacting his acupoints. A day passed. Yi Tian sensed his progress and said, my cultivation speed has tripled. At my current pace, I can open up 45 acupoints in a month. Such a cultivation speed was heaven-defying. If he were to cultivate in a top-level cultivation chamber, his speed could increase even more. But for now, Yi Tian was quite satisfied with this pace. My cultivation level is still too low. I'll focus on cultivating and improving my level during this period, Yi Tian decided. Days went by, and Yi Tian opened one acupoint after another in the advanced cultivation room, his bodily strength soaring at an incredible rate. This rapid increase in strength felt exhilarating, like being enlightened. Finally, after a month, Yi Tian opened another 45 acupoints, adding to the 25 he had previously opened, bringing his total to 63 acupoints. His physical strength had nearly reached 1800 elephant strength units, and his maximum attack power reached 1,296,000 elephants, equivalent to 1.3 dragon power. My attack power has finally entered the threshold of dragon strength. Although it's still far from the Battle Axe Emperor's record of 8.2 dragon power, it's not too far off. Yi Tian was quite pleased with this. With his talent copying ability ready to be used again, Yi Tian planned to visit the vicinity of the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall headquarters. If he encountered the Battle Axe Emperor, that would be a huge gain. Thus, Yi Tian set out, heading straight for the headquarters of the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall. The headquarters of the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall covered an area of about 100 miles, with a large number of king-level individuals coming and going, and occasionally, even saint-level figures appeared. Yi Tian had been there for about 3 hours, but couldn't even enter the main gate of the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall headquarters. He learned that the headquarters was not open to ordinary people, only core members of the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall and mercenaries of silver rank and above could enter. Since he wasn't even a mercenary, Yi Tian thought, I might as well register as a mercenary. Most people from the Zonghai super base have registered, and I'll have to do so sooner or later. The registration for mercenaries wasn't at the headquarters but at various branches. Yi Tian returned to the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall branch in Jinggu District, registered as a mercenary, and quickly obtained a Black Iron level mercenary card. Mercenary ranks were divided into Black Iron, Bronze, Silver, and Gold levels, each with 1 to 9 stars. Yi Tian was currently a 1-star Black Iron level mercenary, the lowest rank. To raise his mercenary level, he had to take on missions. Some missions required a certain mercenary level, while others only required certain cultivation levels or strengths. Although Yi Tian was just a 1-star Black Iron mercenary, his cultivation had reached the king level, allowing him access to quite a few substantial missions. Constant hard cultivation wasn't good either, as it could lead to mental strain. Yi Tian decided to look for a mission to take on, hoping to copy some impressive talents in the process. There were many types of missions, including setting up formations, hunting ferocious beasts, exploring maps, and even entering the other side of spatial rifts. The mission to enter the other side of a spatial rift offered exceptionally high rewards and a substantial amount of points due to its extreme danger. Yi Tian learned a bit about a 5-star level spatial rift. It's located 700,000 kilometers southwest of the Zonghai super base. Although it can't be sealed, it was forcibly suppressed by the powerful individuals of the super base. There was a temporary suppression of the other side, but the two sides have been battling across the rift for 100 years. Sometimes humans invade the other side of the rift, and sometimes they are counterattacked. Currently, humans have once again entered the rift, but control only about 10,000 kilometers inside it, and beyond that, nothing is known. This was all the information Yi Tian had. The so-called exploration missions involved venturing beyond the 10,000-kilometer mark to gather important information, which was obviously very dangerous. Yi Tian, still unfamiliar with the Zonghai super base, naturally wouldn't take on such a mission. Suddenly, a particular mission caught Yi Tian's attention. Assistance in subduing a fierce beast. Mission issuer: Holy Maiden Shui of the Moon God Sect. Requirements: King-ranked powerhouses with high-level beast control talents. Rewards: a choice between a third-rate top-level energy cultivation secret technique or the use of a top-level cultivation room, or payment in equivalent monetary value. Third-rate top-level energy cultivation secret technique. Yi Tian admitted he was tempted. He was currently practicing an advanced energy body refining secret technique. In the Zonghai super base, such a technique was quite common, used by many warriors at the start of their cultivation journey. King-ranked powerhouses often cultivated top-level energy cultivation techniques. However, independent cultivators found it difficult to access these top-tier techniques as they relied on equivalent exchanges, and even if the higher-ups possessed them, they were not easily traded without something of equivalent value. In other top forces, core members practiced these top-level techniques, which were not available for trade or teaching. Yi Tian was in an awkward position where he couldn't obtain a top-level energy cultivation technique and couldn't afford to trade for one, nor did he want to join any other top forces. But now, an opportunity had arisen. Not just any top-level energy cultivation technique, but a third-rate one, which was not just ordinary. The Zonghai super base further categorized top-level energy cultivation techniques into 5 levels, from 5th-rate to 1st-rate. A third-rate technique could potentially triple his cultivation speed, a boost equivalent to enhancing one's talent by a whole level. I must obtain it, Yi Tian resolved, clenching his fist. He knew that such rich rewards meant the mission was very dangerous, but he was qualified for it. He was on the king rank list and possessed high-level beast control talent, meeting the mission's requirements. The Moon God Sect Saintess probably wants to subdue a fierce beast but lacks the necessary talent. What kind of fierce beast is it that requires such a high price to subdue? Yi Tian wondered, intrigued by the potential of copying the beast's extraordinary talents. And the Moon God Sect Saintess herself might also possess impressive talents. Accepted, Yi Tian decided. Chapter 143, The 3-Star Secret Realm. Chapter 143, The 3-Star Secret Realm. Holy Maiden Shui had issued a task that did not require a specific mercenary level. It only required candidates to possess advanced beast control talent and the strength of a King's List powerhouse. Thus, Yi Tian submitted an application to the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall and demonstrated his advanced beast control abilities. In less than half a day, the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall confirmed Yi Tian's qualifications, and he successfully accepted the task. The Battle Axe Mercenary Hall promptly notified Holy Maiden Shui of the Moon God Sect that someone had accepted her task. The Moon God Sect was a major force in the Zonghai super base. While not one of the top 4 powers, it was still among the elite. Shui Qianyu, ranked 8th on the Saint list, was also one of the high-ranking members of the Moon God Sect. The Moon God sect, established by modern humans, only recruited female disciples with exceptional talents. Even if a female disciple married and had a male child, the boy, upon reaching adulthood, could not join the Moon God sect but could only become a member of its peripheral forces. Such was the tradition of the Moon God sect. Inside the Moon God sect, in a pavilion, a woman dressed in green was reading a message from the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall, freewebnovel.com. Someone has accepted my task. She mused. This woman was Holy Maiden Sheui. Come here, she called out. Several king-level women appeared beside Holy Maiden Sheui, bowing respectfully and asking, Saintess, what are your instructions? A person with King's List level advanced beast control talent has accepted my task. We can depart now, declared Holy Maiden Sheui. Yes, the women replied in unison. In the Mirror Lake district, at the Moonlight Restaurant, one of the properties under the Moon God sect, Yi Tian was waiting according to the task's meeting location. Soon, a group of women arrived, led by Holy Maiden Sheui herself. Yi Tian did not recognize Holy Maiden Sheui, but her arrival caused a stir among the onlookers, signaling her fame. Hearing the exclamations of the crowd, Yi Tian recognized her identity and approached her. Holy Maiden Sheui, I presume. I have accepted your task, Yi Tian said calmly. Holy Maiden Sheui looked at Yi Tian and remarked, so you are Yi Tian, who recently made a name for himself in the Zonghai Super Base. I didn't expect you to possess advanced beast control talent. You have seen the task requirements, right? If you help me subdue the beast and extract its soul light for me, I will reward you as promised, and your task will be complete. I would like to know exactly what kind of beast it is, Yi Tian inquired. Holy Maiden Sheui glanced around and then whispered, you will know once we get there. For now, I can only tell you it's a king beast. After a few seconds of silence, Yi Tian nodded, all right. Then let's go, said Holy Maiden Sheui. Yi Tian followed her, leaving the restaurant and heading towards the outskirts of the Zonghai Super Base. On the way, Yi Tian observed the talents of Holy Maiden Sheui and her group of maidservants. The talent of Holy Maiden Sheui is indeed formidable, Yi Tian thought to himself with a hint of surprise. He had previously met Fairy Yueling, whose talent was also impressive. She was of Morning Star level talent and was also incredibly beautiful, on par with Holy Maiden Sheui, yet her talent still fell short in comparison. Human. Wang Sheui. Cultivation talent. Moonlight. Moon body talent. High. Speed talent. Pseudo-mystic 10%. Swordsmanship talent. Top. Strength talent. Intermediate. Defense talent. Pseudo-mystic 30%. Having 2 pseudo-mystic level talents, she must have used treasures to forge a perfect foundation. Coupled with top-level swordsmanship talent and intermediate strength talent, such talents are truly worthy of the Moon God sect's saintess. Yi Tian clearly remembered that the 27th ranked king-level figure on the king's list was named Wang Sheui, affiliated with the Moon God sect. It must be her. In terms of strength, Yi Tian was not yet a match for Wang Sheui. However, with his current rate of progress, he would soon surpass Holy Maiden Sheui. Aside from her, the talents of the other women were also strong, each was extraordinary, possessing 1 or 2 special talents, clearly ordinary geniuses. Now, Yi Tian was uncertain whether to use his 2 remaining copy opportunities. He greatly desired the pseudo-mystic level speed talent and pseudo-mystic level defense talent. However, once used, he wouldn't be able to copy other talents for a month. If the beast that Holy Maiden Sheui wanted to subdue had extraordinary talents, wouldn't he miss a great opportunity? Let's copy one first, and decide on the other after determining the beast's talent. Thus, Yi Tian copied Holy Maiden Sheui's pseudo-mystic level speed talent. He chose to copy this talent because his speed talent was only top level and comparatively weaker than his other talents. As for the pseudo-mystic level defense talent, he already possessed it, and even if he copied Holy Maiden Sheui's pseudo-mystic level talent, it probably wouldn't successfully transform into a full-fledged mystic level talent. Therefore, there was no rush, he could always copy it next time. After successfully copying, he acquired the pseudo-mystic level speed talent. It wasn't the right time to integrate it, Yi Tian would wait for an appropriate opportunity to do so. Before long, Yi Tian and Holy Maiden Sheui's group left the Zonghai Super Base. Where is our destination? Yi Tian curiously asked. A secret realm, Holy Maiden Sheui answered truthfully. That secret realm is only a 3-star level, allowing only king-level individuals to enter. The beast we are going to subdue is hard to capture alive. Otherwise, I would have directly captured it and found a powerful beast control talent in the Zonghai Super Base to tame it for me, and there would be no need to issue a task. Unfortunately, there are not many with advanced beast control talents in the Zonghai super base, and those at the King's List level are even rarer. Now, only you meet the requirements. Yi Tian nodded, grateful for such a coincidence, otherwise, he would have missed the opportunity for a third-rate top-level elemental force cultivation manual. With the speed of kings, Yi Tian and the others flew swiftly, unafraid of attacks from beasts. The powerful beasts near the super base had been mostly cleared, and humans had the upper hand near the 5-star spatial rift, so there was no need to worry. After a few hours, a massive floating fortress appeared before them, bearing 3 large characters, Moon God Fortress. This is a secret realm occupied by our Moon God sect, and the 3-star space rift is inside the Moon God Fortress. Holy Maiden Shui explained. Yi Tian was genuinely surprised, the Moon God sect actually occupies a secret realm. But then he thought, if the Demon Sea base occupied a secret realm, even a single core genius of the Moon God sect would be enough to sweep the Demon Sea Great Base. Hence, it wasn't strange for such a powerful force to occupy a secret realm. The group entered the Moon God Fortress and soon arrived at the 3-star spatial rift. The fortress didn't have any saint-level guardians, only some king-level ones, and not a single genius with Morning Star-level cultivation talent, indicating this place wasn't given much importance. Without hesitation, Yi Tian and Holy Maiden Shui's group passed through the 3-star spatial rift, entering the 3-star secret realm. Chapter 144, The Time-Space Silver Mouse. The Time Talent. Chapter 144, The Time-Space Silver Mouse. The Time Talent. The spiritual energy is sparse. Upon entering the secret realm, Yi Tian frowned. This was a 3-star secret realm, yet its spiritual energy was much thinner than the 1-star secret realm at the Demon Sea base. This secret realm's resources have been nearly exhausted by my Moon God sect. With the resources depleted, the spiritual energy naturally thins, but the rules of the realm remain unchanged. Even an emperor can't alter the rules of a secret realm, so this place is still a 3-star realm. Explained Holy Maiden Shui. I see. Yi Tian understood. Holy Maiden Shui, can you now tell me about the beast in question? Asked Yi Tian. Of course. Holy Maiden Shui began to explain. Initially, this secret realm had little value due to its scarce resources. However, when I was promoted to the position of the Holy Maiden of the Moon God sect, the Master gave me control over this realm for 50 years. I didn't care much about this realm at first, but I accidentally discovered a beast here. It's only a king-level beast, but even I can only suppress it and not capture it. I don't know its name, but it possesses a powerful innate talent. It seems to be a legendary talent. After a pause, Holy Maiden Shui continued, I can tell you, but you must not reveal this to anyone else, at least not for 10 years. The beast's ability seems to be a time talent. Time talent. Yi Tian was visibly shaken and somewhat incredulous. Time talent was rare, often spoken of in the same breath as the equally esteemed space talent. While instances of weaker space talents in beasts were common, time talent was unheard of and scarcely documented. A beast with time talent, no wonder Holy Maiden Shui was intrigued. Then, Holy Maiden Shui described the time abilities of this beast. It could accelerate or decelerate time. The ability to accelerate time allowed it to speed up the flow of time around itself, making its movements extremely fast. On the other hand, decelerating time was often used on enemies, slowing their perception of time and making their movements appear drastically slower. During her encounter with the beast, Holy Maiden Shui struggled under the influence of its time talent. The fluctuating states of accelerated and decelerated time even affected her thoughts, making it challenging to attack, let alone capture the beast. After some research, Holy Maiden Shui believed that if a high-level beast control talent could subdue the beast while she assisted in suppression, there would be a high chance of capturing it. Yi Tian, I know you are capable, and you should be able to keep yourself safe, but I need you to fully utilize your beast control talent. Your goal is to subdue it, not to fight it. Leave the battle to me, Holy Maiden Shui instructed. Understood. Yi Tian nodded, but his thoughts were already fixated on the time talent. Internally, he was ecstatic. Haha, I'm so brilliant. I kept a copy opportunity, and now the beast's time talent will be mine. At that moment, he couldn't wait to see the beast. Holy Maiden Shui had left a special scent on the beast, difficult to dispel. A maid with tracking talent took out a bit of the scent, sniffed it, and began to use her talent, pointing in a direction, over there. Yi Tian, who had previously copied a tracking talent, also sniffed the scent and secretly activated his talent, sensing a faint aroma coming from that direction. Let's go straight there, Holy Maiden Shui commanded in a firm tone. Swish, swish, swish. The group quickly flew toward the location and soon encountered the beast. It was a mouse the size of a calf, covered in silver-white fur, appearing somewhat timid. When they were about 1,500 meters away from the mouse, Yi Tian used his copy talent to check its abilities. Species: Time-Space Silver Mouse. Bloodline Talent: Morning Star Level. Space Talent: Weak. Time Talent: Basic. Strength Talent: Basic. Golden Fur Talent: High Level. Having both time and space talents, the strongest talents, this time-space silver mouse is truly exceptional. Its space talent is weak, limited to spatial perception only, which is why Holy Maiden Shui wasn't aware of it, Yi Tian thought to himself. The mouse's basic level time talent was impressive in its own right, not to mention its basic level strength talent and high-level golden fur talent. Be careful, the fur of this beast can be launched as a powerful attack, impenetrable by anyone without the strength of the king's list. You all retreat and don't get close. Set up a formation around the perimeter. If the beast tries to flee, activate the formation to intercept it. Holy Maiden Shui instructed her maids. freewebnovel.com. Yes, Holy Maiden, responded the maids. They withdrew, setting up a formation covering a large area, but they didn't activate it yet. Activating it would alert the time-space silver mouse, making it flee and impossible to capture. Meanwhile, Yi Tian secretly copied the basic level time talent of the time-space silver mouse, waiting for Holy Maiden Shui's command. Whoosh! Holy Maiden Shui was the first to charge, battling the mouse. Her pseudo-mystic level speed talent made her much faster than Yi Tian. So fast, Yi Tian's pupils contracted, he couldn't even see Holy Maiden Shui's shadow, a testament to her ultimate king level strength combined with pseudo-mystic level speed talent. Suddenly, he saw her slow down considerably, as if some force was decelerating her speed. Yi Tian guessed this was the time deceleration ability, slowing down time around her while elsewhere it remained unchanged, explaining why Holy Maiden Shui appeared so slow to him. Still, her speed was much faster than his. Yi Tian, use your beast control talent. Holy Maiden Shui telepathically instructed. Without hesitation, Yi Tian activated his high-level beast control talent. Boom! A wave of energy instantly enveloped the time-space silver mouse. Sensing Yi Tian's high-level beast control talent, the mouse tried to slow down time, but it was still affected due to Holy Maiden Shui's interference. Yi Tian's talent penetrated deep into the soul of the time-space silver mouse. Yaa! The mouse shrieked, obviously in pain. Seizing this opportunity, Holy Maiden Shui swiftly struck the mouse with her sword. The mouse couldn't evade and was hit hard, flying back with severe injuries. Enraged, the mouse activated its golden fur talent. Its golden fur shot out like needles, covering the surrounding space. Holy Maiden Shui used her pseudo-mystic level talent to withstand these golden needles. Yi Tian, nearby, also activated his pseudo-mystic level defense and bone talents, avoiding injury from the needles. In a bold move, Holy Maiden Shui suddenly embraced the time-space silver mouse tightly. Chapter 145. Second-rate top-level cultivation secret art. The Azure Energy Secret Art. Chapter 145. Second-rate top-level cultivation secret art. The Azure Energy Secret Art. Quick, fully control this ferocious beast, shouted Holy Maiden Shui. This was a rare opportunity, and if the time-space silver mouse hadn't been injured or its soul impacted, she wouldn't have been able to grasp it under the influence of its time talent. At that moment, Holy Maiden Shui clutched the neck of the time-space silver mouse, refusing to let go. In terms of strength, the mouse was not very powerful, and its high-level golden fur talent couldn't break through her pseudo-mystic level defense talent, making it impossible for the mouse to shake off Holy Maiden Shui. Yi Tian was stunned by this scene. Holy Maiden Shui, a figure of elegance, had cast aside her dignity in a move that seemed desperate. He didn't dwell on this for long, focusing instead on fully activating his high-level beast control talent and influencing the time-space silver mouse. The mouse, sensing its life in danger, began to activate its bloodline talent. Its golden fur radiated a terrifying chill, as if channeling the power of time and space. Bad news, Yi Tian, get away quickly! Holy Maiden Shui exclaimed in alarm. The mouse, having activated its bloodline power, surged in strength, and its golden fur needles seemed capable of piercing through space. Holy Maiden Shui, with her invincible king-level strength and pseudo-mystic level defense talent, bore the brunt of the attack, although she worried about Yi Tian withstanding the power of the needles. In reality, Yi Tian could have escaped using teleportation, but he chose not to, as the needles couldn't kill him. His top-level healing talent quickly repaired the damage to his body, even healing his punctured organs. Yi Tian was secretly shocked. The golden fur talent, merely high level, had become terrifyingly powerful upon the activation of the bloodline power. The mouse's bloodline was daunting, containing a hint of time-space power. Even this faint power was enough to enhance its attack, piercing through Yi Tian's pseudo-mystic level defense talent. His pseudo-mystic level indestructible bone talent protected his bones, but the needles still penetrated his flesh. Luckily, it was a close call without any serious harm. Soon, the time-space silver mouse began to lose its will to resist, and Yi Tian extracted its soul light, placing it into a control card he had prepared. Holy Maiden Shui took the control card from Yi Tian and refined it. It's done. With the mouse subdued, she began to communicate with it telepathically. Whatever she said, the mouse soon complied, becoming a willing beast pet. Eat this, she said, feeding the mouse a medicinal pill, quickly healing its injuries. Observing the pill, Yi Tian thought about the profession of an alchemist. Like array masters, alchemists required specific talents and were even rarer. They could use various ingredients to create pills with effects far surpassing mass-produced healing liquids. However, Yi Tian didn't plan to learn alchemy. Given the limited time a person has, it's not feasible to delve into everything. His true profession was a warrior, and improving his martial abilities was his priority. He would consider studying alchemy only if he found himself with an abundance of time. After a while, the time-space silver mouse had mostly recovered and obediently followed Holy Maiden Shui. It's time to leave, she said. What reward would you like? A second-rate top-level energy cultivation secret art, a top-tier cultivation chamber, money, or some other treasure. Name it, and if I find it reasonable, I can give it to you. Holy Maiden Shui was in high spirits and did not limit what Yi Tian could ask for as a reward. His assistance had been invaluable, and he had even faced a life-threatening situation. If it weren't for Yi Tian's healing talents, the outcome could have been dire. She did not inquire how Yi Tian so easily recovered from his injuries, but she took note of his contribution. A third-rate top-level energy cultivation secret art. Yi Tian declared his desired reward. Are you sure you want this? Asked Holy Maiden Shui. Yes, Yi Tian replied with certainty. Here you go. Holy Maiden Shui casually handed over a book. This is a second-rate top-level energy cultivation secret art I came across by chance, called the Azure Energy Secret Art. It's 4 times more effective than advanced energy body refining arts. Why are you giving me such a valuable second-rate top-level energy cultivation secret art? I only asked for a third-rate one, Yi Tian expressed his surprise. The mission almost led to a life-threatening situation. I don't want to owe you anything. Besides, giving away a secret art doesn't really cause me any actual loss, explained Holy Maiden Shui. Thank you very much. Yi Tian expressed his gratitude. Let's go, said Holy Maiden Shui softly. They left the secret realm and returned to the Zonghai super base. After entering the base, Yi Tian parted ways with them. Back at home, Yi Tian couldn't help but laugh heartily by himself. The rewards from this venture were immense. It was like picking up treasure for free. Pseudo-mystic level speed talent, basic level time talent, and a second-rate energy cultivation secret art. Today is indeed my lucky day, Yi Tian sighed deeply. Without hesitation, Yi Tian began to integrate the pseudo-mystic level speed talent. Boom, the integration process started and, after 10 minutes, his speed talent underwent a transformation. Speed talent, pseudo-mystic level 10%. After successful integration, Yi Tian sensed a mystic force within him, the mystic force of speed, which he seemed to have comprehended himself. 60% in pseudo-mystic defense talent, 10% in pseudo-mystic speed talent. I now possess 2 types of mystic forces. It's a pity that the pseudo-mystic level indestructible bone talent, pseudo-mystic level strength talent, and pseudo-mystic level bloodthirsty talent haven't resulted in any mystic force comprehension, effectively at 0%. Otherwise, I would have mastered 5 mystic forces. Well, I'll just copy someone else's pseudo-mystic level talents in the future, Yi Tian muttered to himself. Next, he began to integrate the long-desired time mystic force. Integrate. The power of the time talent began to merge with Yi Tian's soul and body, bringing a peculiar and uncomfortable sensation, painful and awkward. This was the influence of the power of time on Yi Tian. After 10 minutes, the integration was complete. Yi Tian gasped for breath, his clothes soaked with sweat. Is it done? He quickly checked his talent status. Upon seeing the status of his time talent, Yi Tian finally relaxed. Time talent. Basic level. Chapter 146. Time acceleration cultivation. Terrifying effect. Chapter 146. Time acceleration cultivation. Terrifying effect. Yi Tian was extremely curious about the specific effects of the basic level time talent. He communicated with the time talent mark in his consciousness and quickly learned about its abilities. The basic level time talent had 3 abilities: time perception, time acceleration, and time deceleration. Time perception allowed one to sense the flow of time in a location. This might seem trivial, but in areas where time flowed differently, this ability was invaluable. It prevented one from entering an area with a significantly slower passage of time, unwittingly spending days inside while years passed outside. Time acceleration could speed up time in a specific area. With the basic level time talent, Yi Tian could accelerate time by up to 3 times. Similarly, he could also decelerate time by 3 times. If used in combat, slowing down the time in the enemy's area by 3 times would effectively reduce their thought process, reaction, and speed by the same amount, a truly fearsome prospect. However, the true value of time acceleration lay in cultivation. freewebnovel.com. Accelerating time by 3 times during cultivation means 3 days of my training is equivalent to 1 day for others. Damn WTFFF. Doesn't that mean my cultivation speed can increase by 3 times? And with the second-rate top-level energy cultivation secret art, which increases effectiveness by 4 times, my cultivation speed will skyrocket. Elated by this revelation, Yi Tian began studying the Azure Energy secret art. After half a day, he fully understood it and commenced his cultivation. Time acceleration. He activated the 3x time acceleration, but soon noticed a problem. Maintaining the time acceleration consumed his own energy. Without a time array design, he could only use his own energy to sustain the 3-fold time acceleration. Cultivation can replenish energy, but this way, the amplification effect won't reach 3 times, Yi Tian pondered with a frown. Moreover, using time acceleration had a drawback: it consumed 3 times his lifespan. However, this was not a significant issue for Yi Tian, with a lifespan of 800 years and still being young. He proceeded with cultivating the Azure Energy secret art. After a day, he found that his cultivation speed had increased by 8-fold in reality. The original 12x effectiveness, 3x from time acceleration and 4x from the secret art, was reduced to 8x due to the need to replenish his energy with the spiritual energy of the world. Even so, an 8x increase in cultivation speed was astonishing. Normally, I could increase 45 acupoints in a month. Now, with an 8x increase, that means... Yi Tian laughed heartily. In less than a month, he could advance to the ultimate king level, probably becoming the fastest cultivator in the Zonghai super base. I'll exit seclusion once I reach the ultimate king level. He set his short-term goal. After more than 20 days, Yi Tian concluded his secluded cultivation and deactivated his time acceleration ability. My physical strength has reached the ultimate king level with 10,000 elephants, and I can't improve further. My speed has also increased manifold, and with the pseudo-mystic level speed talent, my speed is now on par with Holy Maiden Shui. Yi Tian mused. By his calculations, his attack power had reached 7.2 Dragon Force. Now, Yi Tian realized there were only 2 ways to increase his attack power and break the Battle Axe Emperor's record at the king level. The first was to cultivate a gold-level blade technique, which was a difficult task since gold-level techniques were highly secret in the Zonghai super base and beyond his means to acquire, even through trade with powerful individuals in the Loose Cultivators Alliance. The second method was to copy a pseudo-mystic level strength talent, a somewhat simpler approach. There were definitely possessors of such talent in the Zonghai super base, with the Battle Axe Emperor being one of them. However, the Emperor might not be in the base, so copying his talent would depend on luck. Copying someone else's talent seems the best approach. Those ranked high on the king's list must have pseudo-mystic level strength talents, Yi Tian speculated. Thus, over the next few days, Yi Tian began to inquire about the whereabouts of those ranked at the top of the king's list. 5 days later, he received news that Qin Zontian, ranked second on the list, was currently in the War God Tower and had already been there for 2 days. Upon hearing this, Yi Tian immediately headed to the War God Tower, blending into the crowd and waiting patiently. He believed Qin Zontian wouldn't stay in the tower for long, as he was probably there to comprehend the War God steel. It was unlikely for someone to stay there indefinitely unless they had an abundance of resources. As expected, on the 4th day, Qin Zontian emerged, and Yi Tian, who had been waiting, caught sight of him. His copy talent had just finished its cooldown period and was ready for use again. Casting his copy talent over Qin Zontian, he revealed the latter's talent status. Name: Qin Zontian. Cultivation talent: Morning Star level. Strength talent. Pseudo-mystic level 50%. Spear technique talent, intermediate. Defense talent. Pseudo-mystic level 20%. Speed talent. Pseudo-mystic level 10%. Yi Tian was taken aback by Qin Zontian's incredible talents. Although his cultivation talent was only Morning Star level, lower than Holy Maiden Shui's Moonlight level, his other talents were monstrous. He possessed 3 pseudo-mystic level talents in the fundamental areas of speed, strength, and defense, without a single flaw, and even had an intermediate spear technique talent. If his spear technique had been top level, he could have broken the Battle Axe Emperor's attack power record. Yi Tian realized such talent was not innate but rather cultivated, likely at a great cost. Qin Zontian was a grandson of the founder of the Qin sect, who was a top-ranked martial emperor. Despite his ordinary innate talent, he had been nurtured into the second-ranked warrior on the king's list. However, it seemed even the Zonghai super base couldn't enhance a talent above the Morning Star level. Fortunate for having the copy talent, Yi Tian could copy any talent, even cultivation talents, an advantage no genius possessed. Copy pseudo-mystic level talents, copy defense talent. Yi Tian copied Qin Zontian's 2 talents and then left the War God Tower to return home. Integrate pseudo-mystic level strength talent, he said, full of anticipation. Soon, the integration was complete. Strength talent. Pseudo-mystic level 50%. Testing his strength, Yi Tian found that the 50% pseudo-mystic level strength talent increased his power by 40 times. Chapter 147, 7-Star King Level. Breaking the record. Chapter 147, 7-Star King Level. Breaking the record. Yi Tian calculated his strongest attack power. His physical strength was the power of 10,000 elephants, which after amplification became the power of 20,000 elephants. His talent for 50% pseudo-mystic level strength amplified it by 40 times, and the stacking amplification of Tianji/ added another 12 times. Altogether, his attack power reached 9.6 million elephant power, equivalent to 9.6 dragon strength. Broken. Yi Tian was thrilled. He had finally broken the strongest attack record left by Emperor Battle Axe at the king level. As long as he went to test at the War God Tower, he could obtain the cumulative rewards. Let's copy the pseudo-mystic level defense talent again, maybe I can even break the strongest defense record. Yi Tian looked forward to it. Thus, he began to merge the 2 parts of pseudo-mystic level defense talent copied from Qin Zontian. Boom, the copying began. 10 minutes later, the merging finished, and Yi Tian's defensive talent underwent another change. Defensive talent. Pseudo-mystic 70%. His defensive talent increased from 60% pseudo-mystic level previously written incorrectly, now corrected to 70% pseudo-mystic level, significantly boosting his defense. Yi Tian tested it, and his defensive ability was amplified by 60 times. His mere physical defense could withstand 1.2 million elephant power, equivalent to 1.2 dragon strength without injury. If he added the pseudo-mystic level bone talent, he could probably withstand 1.8 dragon strength without injury. The pseudo-defense level talent is still a bit short, let's break the strongest attack record first and get some cumulative points. Then go to challenge the War God Tower and break the 6th floor, and get some more cumulative points. Yi Tian planned so. Thus, Yi Tian once again arrived at the War God Tower. Let's challenge the 6th floor of the War God Tower first, Yi Tian thought. Thereupon, his soul once again arrived at the 6th floor of the War God Tower. The black-clad warrior, who seemed incredibly fast to him before, now appeared very slow to him. Die. With just one strike, Yi Tian killed the opponent in a second. He passed the 6th floor. 32 cumulative points in hand. Outside the War God Tower, Yi Tian's passing of the 6th floor caused his ranking to surge, shooting up to 33rd place. Originally, there were 32 people who had passed the 6th floor, and with Yi Tian, it became 33. Good heavens, Yi Tian has passed the 6th floor, advancing to 33rd place, defying the heavens. How long has it been? Incredible. How strong is Yi Tian's talent? He must not have opened many acupoints before, so each increase in an acupoint greatly boosts his strength. This time he must have had a huge increase in cultivation, and his strength surged a lot, allowing him to pass the 6th floor. Does that mean he had just broken through to the king level when he challenged the War God Tower before? Probably so. He is a true monster. Do you think he can pass the 7th floor? In our Zonghai base, there are only 6 geniuses who have passed the 7th floor, maybe he will be the 7th. Pass the 7th floor? Are you kidding? Absolutely impossible. While these people were arguing and discussing, Yi Tian arrived at the 7th floor. On the 7th floor, Yi Tian was fighting with the black-clad warrior. The warrior's speed was not inferior to Yi Tian, but his strength was far less. Yi Tian's attack power had broken Emperor Battle Axe's record, who could compare with his attack power. freewebnovel.com. Therefore, the black-clad warrior was quickly slain by Yi Tian. Passing the 7th floor, 64 cumulative points in hand. At this moment, Yi Tian faced a dilemma, whether to challenge the 8th floor of the War God Tower or not. He was confident he could pass it, especially with his spatial and temporal talents, but doing so would undoubtedly cause a major upheaval in the Zonghai super base. Never mind, better to keep a low profile. If I had a strong backing, I would definitely challenge the 8th floor, but there's no need now. I'm not too eager for the War God steel, it's just for comprehending sword intent. And right now, I don't have a golden level sword technique, so there's no need to rush to perfect my sword intent. Thinking this, Yi Tian temporarily abandoned the idea of challenging the 8th floor. Just after leaving the virtual world, Yi Tian checked his cumulative points and was surprised to find that they had reached 198. How did this happen? Didn't I only earn 98 points for passing the 5th and 6th floors? Why is it now 198 points? He wondered. Ling, why do I have 198 cumulative points? Yi Tian asked his spiritual AI, Ling. Ling replied truthfully, the War God Tower detected that you broke the strongest attack record and automatically updated the record, awarding you an additional 100 points. So that's it, Yi Tian realized. He then opened the strongest attack record, and indeed, it had been updated with his name. King level strongest attack record. 9.6 Dragon Strength, record holder, Yi Tian. Seeing this record, Yi Tian felt very satisfied. Meanwhile, the outside world was boiling over Yi Tian's feat of passing the 7th floor, ranking 7th on the king level list. In an instant, all major powers learned of Yi Tian's achievements. Many powers wanted to recruit him, some even wanting to force him to join them, but several emperors of the Loose Cultivator Alliance intervened, warning them not to make any moves. Are you kidding? It's not easy for a 7-star king level genius to emerge among the loose cultivators, and with such rapid cultivation progress, he might even have a moonlight level talent. The first 7-star king level of our alliance is only at the morning star level and can't step into the emperor level, not really helping the alliance's influence. But Yi Tian could possibly lead the Loose Cultivator Alliance to gain more influence, they thought. So, they wanted to tie Yi Tian to the Loose Cultivator Alliance's side and wouldn't allow other powers to snatch him away. At the Moon God sect, Holy Maiden Shui was playing with a space-time silver mouse when a maid hurried over. Holy Maiden, there's big news. The maid said urgently. What's the big news? Shui frowned. Look at this, the maid handed over a piece of intelligence to Shui. The Holy Maiden was shocked upon reading it. This can't be. We just met Yi Tian a month ago. His strength wasn't even comparable to mine. How could he have reached 7-star king level power? I've only just stepped into 6-star king level. Miss, what if Yi Tian hid his true strength? Maybe he let the space-time silver mouse injure him to gain your sympathy, suggested the maid. Shui pondered, finding it possible. But then she smiled, we haven't lost anything. Besides, using a 2nd-tier top-strength cultivation secret technique to ask for the help of a 7-star king level expert, could anyone else do that? No 7-star king level genius would care for a mere 2nd-tier top-strength cultivation secret technique, they mostly have 1st-tier top ones, the maid shook her head. Exactly, but Yi Tian is a genuine 7-star king level. Even if he just reached it, we're not at a loss. Even if he did it for sympathy, being connected with such a genius only benefits us. Don't complain, Shui said. I understand, Holy Maiden, the maid nodded. However, what the maid didn't see was the envy in the depths of Shui's heart. A 7-star king level talent. Even the Moon God sect couldn't cultivate her to that level. Getting her to 6-star king level had already drained a lot of resources. But I have the space-time silver mouse, a beast with the highest spatial and temporal talents. With proper nurturing, it will definitely be my greatest aid. With this thought, Shui no longer envied Yi Tian. Little did she know that Yi Tian also possessed the supreme spatial and temporal talents, which would have only deepened her envy and possibly even led to jealousy. Chapter 148. The Secrets of the King Level. Chapter 148. The Secrets of the King Level. In a tower within the Zonghai super base, Wang Yan stared at the newly received information, utterly stunned. This was the 5th time she had received news about Yi Tian, each time more shocking than the last. Not long ago, Yi Tian was ranked 62nd on the king's list, which she could hardly believe, attributing it to his strong talent. Yet now, in such a short time, Yi Tian had achieved 7-star king level combat power, completely beyond her expectations. Even now, she doubted the authenticity of this information, but after several inquiries, she finally confirmed its truth. 7-star king level, huh? That opportunity suits him perfectly. It's useless for me. Yi Tian is an outsider here in the Zonghai super base with no significant backing. He definitely can't get that opportunity on his own. If I give it to him, it'll be a huge favor. Wang Yan muttered to herself. Once Yi Tian comes out of the War God Tower, I'll go find him. She decided firmly. In the War God Tower, after Yi Tian passed the 7th floor, Ling, the AI, said to him, Yi Tian, you've passed the 7th floor. Anyone who passes the 6th floor of the War God Tower can become an official member, enjoying privileges not available to ordinary kings. Official member. Yi Tian was curious. What kind of privileges? Ling explained, due to the damage to the War God Tower, many functions are lost. Currently, there are only 2 privileges, the War God Ring and member cumulative points. The War God Ring is a special artifact that allows one to enter a virtual world for combat training, refining battle skills, and even testing one's attack power, speed, defense, etc. As long as you are within 100,000 kilometers of the War God Tower, you can use the War God Ring. Member cumulative points are a benefit for official members. You can collect 1 point each month, which can be accumulated. Really? Yi Tian was surprised. The War God Ring was incredibly convenient, allowing instant access to a virtual world for combat and testing abilities. And the monthly cumulative point was also a great perk, accumulating 12 points in a year, which could be used for contemplating in front of the War God Steel. Who wouldn't want such extra rewards? Yi Tian also learned from Ling that the War God Tower was damaged. The seemingly normal tower was actually incomplete. If it were complete, the benefits for official members would be even greater. If the War God Tower were complete, wouldn't the benefits for official members be even better? Yi Tian imagined, but getting such benefits now was already good enough, being too greedy wouldn't be right. Ling, I want to enter the War God Steel space. Yi Tian said. After being transported into the War God Steel space, Yi Tian began contemplating Sword Intent. A month passed in the blink of an eye. One day, Yi Tian opened his eyes, it's too hard. A month ago, my Sword Intent was at 70%, but now it's only at 75%. It seems I might barely reach 80% after using all my cumulative points. He decided not to continue and left the space. This time, he not only wanted to copy 2 good talents but also to find a golden level sword technique, otherwise, his high level of Sword Intent would be wasted. freewebnovel.com. Leaving the War God Tower, Yi Tian headed home. Along the way, he used his talent copying ability to scan the talents of those around him but didn't see any particularly good talents. Returning home, Yi Tian was preparing to make something delicious to eat when suddenly someone came to visit. Surprised, he saw Wang Yan standing outside his villa. May I come in? Wang Yan asked. Please. Yi Tian quickly invited her in. He was grateful to Wang Yan, who had given him the turtle breathing technique, saving him a lot of trouble at the beginning and providing some introduction to the Zonghai super base, which, although not very valuable, helped him understand the base more quickly. Yi Tian was impressed by Wang Yan's gesture. Yi Tian, you've really surprised me. In such a short time, you've gained 7-star king level strength. I thought it was a fake message when I first heard it. Wang Yan said with a smile. It's just a bit of talent, Yi Tian replied modestly. It's not just a bit, it's a lot. Wang Yan said with a laugh, yet her tone didn't show too much awe towards Yi Tian's 7-star king level status. A typical king level would have trembled in front of Yi Tian, but she spoke quite casually. Wang Yan, do you know why there are so many kings on the king's list? Many of them have reached the pinnacle of the king level, including those with morning star level cultivation talents. Such talents, especially those who have forged a perfect foundation, could easily enter the saint level, but they remain at the king level. Do you know why? Wang Yan suddenly asked. Yi Tian fell silent for a few seconds, then shook his head. I don't know. He had thought about this question but hadn't pondered it deeply. Now, it seemed like a significant issue. For example, Holy Maiden Shui had been famous for a long time and had a moonlight level cultivation talent. It should be easy for her to break through to the saint level, but she remained at the king level, which was strange. There are a few reasons, Wang Yan explained. One is the issue of talent quantity. Even those who have forged a perfect foundation find it hard to add more talents through artifacts once they enter the saint level. For example, geniuses who lack speed talents might want to use artifacts to add such talents. True geniuses want to fill their talent gaps before entering the saint level, ideally having all three basic talents, but artifacts that add talents are rare, and most only add low-level or mid-level talents, which many geniuses don't value. The second reason is the comprehension of mysteries. You must have comprehended mysteries, so I don't know how many you've mastered, but even if a genius has comprehended mysteries, most of their talents are only at the pseudo-mystic level and hardly reach the true mystery level. Once they have a mystic level talent, they can control the power of laws. Such mysteries are called law mysteries, and their power is far beyond what pseudo-mystic talents can compare to. It is said that when one ascends from the king level to the saint level, the soul undergoes a transformation, and the comprehension ability at that time increases many times. If one can contemplate a pseudo-mystic talent to the 7-point realm, they can use the breakthrough moment to comprehend all the way to a true mystic level talent. So, true geniuses want to comprehend their pseudo-mystic talents to the 7-point realm before ascending, and that's why they stay at the king level. Yi Tian had a moment of realization. This secret might be common knowledge among the top echelons of the Zonghai superbase and some top geniuses, but it hadn't spread outside, and ordinary kings were unaware of it. With no background, no one had told Yi Tian about it. "Why are you telling me all this?" Yi Tian asked, puzzled. Wang Yan smiled. "Yi Tian, when I first saw you, I thought you were the disciple of some old monster, but then I realized you weren't because you knew so little. If you were truly taken as a disciple by an old monster, they would have taught you this knowledge. When you quickly rose to be a strong contender on the king's list, I was even more certain you weren't someone's disciple, because your talent is too high. If you were, they would have done everything to help you step into the saint level and wouldn't dare let you leave just after reaching the king level. At this stage, without guidance, it's easy to go astray. For example, what I just told you, if you didn't know, you might recklessly rush into the saint level and miss the chance to elevate your talents to the mystery level. You don't have much background or opportunity, so I can invest in you. Now there's a great opportunity I think you need. Would you be willing to let me invest in your opportunity?" Chapter 149, Ancient Civilization Relic. Chapter 149, Ancient Civilization Relic. Invest. Yi Tian looked at Wang Yan in surprise, not expecting this proposition from her. And Wang Yan guessed correctly, he indeed hadn't been taken as a disciple by any old monster and had no significant background. His only advantage was his high talent, which in this era was the most crucial, more important than any legacy. But high talent didn't mean he didn't need opportunities, knowledge, or guidance. If Yi Tian hadn't received the cultivation insights from Typhoon King, he wouldn't have attempted to forge a perfect foundation, nor would he have been able to copy someone else's pseudo-mystic level talents. Without a perfect foundation, it would be difficult for him to break through the 100 times amplification limit. Copying talents wasn't omnipotent, it couldn't help him break the 100 times amplification limit. Only those with a perfect foundation could achieve this breakthrough. Therefore, seizing any chance for such opportunities was essential. "What do you want to invest in me?" Yi Tian asked directly. "An ancient civilization relic similar to the War God Tower. I have a quota for it, but I know my strength is not enough. If I go in, I might not only fail to get the treasures but also possibly lose my life. Many geniuses from large forces want this quota, but I haven't given it to anyone. I want to give this quota to you. The only requirement is that you bring back an item that can refine spiritual power." Wang Yan revealed her intention. Ancient civilization relic. Yi Tian was surprised and asked, "What is an ancient civilization relic?" Wang Yan wasn't surprised that Yi Tian didn't know about ancient civilization relics. Even in the Zonghai super base, only the core disciples of the top powers knew this secret. "The War God Tower is a treasure left by an ancient civilization," Wang Yan explained. "You can understand ancient civilization relics as relics left from a very long time ago, possibly tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even more years ago. There were civilizations before humanity." Yi Tian was shocked. He had also wondered how such a groundbreaking treasure like the War God Tower came into existence, and now he understood. The War God Tower was a treasure from an ancient civilization, dating back to a very long time ago. The civilization that owned the War God Tower must have been incredibly advanced and powerful. "What happened to those ancient civilizations?" Yi Tian asked. "Perhaps they perished, or maybe they left Earth. Who knows?" Wang Yan shrugged, indicating her own ignorance. Yi Tian didn't press further on this topic, and Wang Yan continued to talk about the ancient civilization relic. The relic is a temple, and within the temple is a space containing many treasures, including items that can increase talents and even condense spiritual power into divine consciousness. The Zonghai Super Base's ability to produce so many high-talented individuals relies on these treasures, otherwise, the Base's strength and talent level would drop by 1 or 2 grades. Are there any sword techniques inside? Yi Tian asked casually. Expecting a negative answer, Yi Tian was surprised when Wang Yan confidently said, yes. Most of the strength manuals, sword techniques, spear techniques, etc., in the Zonghai Super Base are not created by martial artists but brought out from such relics. There are indeed sword techniques in that temple, even golden-level sword techniques, but they are very hard to obtain. Even golden-level sword techniques? Yi Tian repeated, his interest piqued. Yi Tian was genuinely tempted by the offer. He was very eager to acquire a golden-level sword technique, knowing that possessing one would significantly boost his strength. Are you really willing to give this opportunity to me? He asked. Although he wasn't sure how many quotas there were for entering the temple, he understood that each quota was extremely precious. Of course, Wang Yan confirmed confidently, I believe in your strength, and this is an equal exchange, which is what your loose cultivator alliance always pursues, right? I give you the quota, you enter the temple, and if you can bring out an item that refines spiritual power, you give me one. It's a fair trade. My cultivation talent is only extraordinary, and relying on my talent to refine spiritual power is out of the question. It's too slow. To step into the saint level, one must refine their spiritual power into divine consciousness. I can only rely on external items to refine my spiritual power and advance to the saint level. My chances of success are quite high, at least 50 to 60%. But items that can refine spiritual power are very rare. Even as a descendant of a saint-level figure in the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall, I can't get one, and the only hope is from the relics. Alright, I agree. Yi Tian accepted the offer. Why wouldn't he agree to something that was beneficial for both parties? He then received more information about the temple from Wang Yan. What caught Yi Tian's attention was that warriors from another super base also had quotas to enter the relic. This super base, called the Long River Base, was established near the Yangtze River. The warriors from Long River Base fought daily with the fierce beasts in the Yangtze River, and with 2 5-star level spatial rifts nearby, they were less populous but stronger in combat compared to the Zonghai Super Base, as their warriors were constantly battling fierce beasts. Wang Yan warned him at the end, be careful of other warriors. In the temple space, for the sake of treasures, even people you know might turn on you, let alone strangers. Yi Tian nodded, he was well aware of this. Selfishness and greed were part of human nature. True noble warriors were rare and not suited to survive in this era. The law of the jungle prevailed, the strong survived, and the weak were eliminated. Even with Wang Yan, Yi Tian maintained a certain level of vigilance. As she left, she gave him a token, one of the keys to enter the temple. The temple had a total of 365 keys, of which the Zonghai Super Base only possessed 108. Given the many top forces in the Zonghai Super Base and only 108 keys to enter the temple, the quotas were extremely precious. Yi Tian would never have obtained this key if it weren't for Wang Yan's investment in him. The temple opens once every 10 years, and there are 2 months left. What Wang Yan didn't mention is that the top fighters on the king's list who remain at the king level are probably also waiting for this chance at the temple relic, Yi Tian speculated. Knowing this, he decided not to rush into the saint level. He could easily advance to the saint level, but learning about the significant boost in comprehension during the breakthrough changed his mind. Though he could copy others' talents, mystic-level talents were exceedingly rare, he hadn't seen any so far, not even in Water Thousand Moon, ranked 8th on the saints list. His defensive talent had already reached the level of 70% pseudo-mystic. During his breakthrough to the saint level, he could contemplate it into a true mystic-level talent. He aimed to acquire more mystic-level talents. Next, my goal is to copy a pseudo-mystic level talent to the realm of 70% pseudo-mystic level, Yi Tian set another small goal for himself. Chapter 150. Xiao Shui Awakens, Slightly Arrogant. Chapter 150. Xiao Shui Awakens, Slightly Arrogant. For 2 months, Yi Tian couldn't enhance his cultivation level any further. He had already reached the peak of the king level, and the next step was the saint level. Unable to break through to the saint level and unable to enhance his cultivation, he had no choice but to improve in other areas, such as blade intent, or by copying other talents. In the next 2 days, Yi Tian frequented various divisions of the Loose Cultivators Alliance and numerous Battle Axe Mercenary Halls, in an attempt to find exceptional talents. Finally, he succeeded, in the Sanshan area, at a battle axe mercenary hall. Yi Tian discreetly observed a 70-year-old martial artist. This man had the appearance of a monkey with a sharp mouth and thin cheeks, and a blood-red eye in the center of his forehead, a member of the tri-eyed human race. His appearance was quite strange, and his cultivation level wasn't high, merely at the level of a grandmaster. However, his talent caught Yi Tian's attention. Tri-eyed human race. Ji Yutong freewebnovel.com. Cultivation talent. Extraordinary. Speed talent. Beginner. Disguise talent. Advanced. This tri-eyed human named Ji Yutong, although only having an extraordinary level of cultivation talent, possessed a talent for disguise. This person has extraordinary talent, he can't possibly be just a grandmaster at the age of 70. His actual age must be quite young. Could it be that he used his disguise talent to appear as an old man? Yi Tian was greatly surprised. Upon closer inspection, the man did indeed appear to be an old man in every aspect, whether it was skin, eyes, or even the aura of life, all matched that of an elderly person, leaving no clue to the contrary. Had it not been for his ability to copy talents, Yi Tian wouldn't have suspected that the man was actually young. The talent for disguise, this is a really good talent. In 2 months, when I enter the temple, I might be able to use this disguise talent to transform into another person. That way, even if I offend someone inside, they won't know my real identity. Yi Tian was secretly thrilled. Thus, he stealthily copied Ji Yutong's disguise talent. Afterwards, he visited some other places, approaching the headquarters of some major forces, but since he couldn't enter, and his talent copying couldn't cover a wide range, he was unable to copy the talents of core members of those major forces. In the end, not wanting to waste more time, Yi Tian randomly copied a top-tier shadow talent. Originally, he also had a shadow talent, but it was only basic. Now that he had copied a top-tier shadow talent, it was a decent gain. Returning home, Yi Tian then merged the top-tier shadow talent with the advanced disguise talent. At this moment, Yi Tian discovered that the advanced disguise talent wasn't as simple as he thought, it allowed him to disguise himself as other creatures. I can even disguise myself as a ferocious beast. Yi Tian was genuinely astonished. He had thought that the disguise talent was just a simple human face swap, but after touching the mark of the disguise talent, he realized the magical aspects of the disguise talent. However, the advanced disguise talent couldn't disguise him as any beast, only humanoid beasts like monkeys. Meanwhile, the disguise talent could also transform him into a woman, even perfectly mimicking a woman's voice. But the thought of disguising himself as a woman made Yi Tian feel too awkward, and he quickly dismissed the idea. Arriving at the War God Tower, Yi Tian prepared to start a closed-door meditation to comprehend blade intent. There was no use in holding on to his points, so he planned to use them all to comprehend blade intent. If he could raise his understanding of blade intent, it would be of great use should he obtain a golden-level blade technique in the temple space. In the War God Steel space, Yi Tian began to comprehend blade intent. As days passed, his realm of blade intent steadily improved. 77% blade intent. 77% blade intent. 78% blade intent. Unbeknownst to him, Yi Tian had already been in seclusion for nearly 2 months. He only left once, following a saint-level practitioner. After that saint-level practitioner left the War God Steel space, Yi Tian followed suit. The moment he left the War God Tower, he copied pseudo-mystic strength talent from him, enhancing his own pseudo-mystic strength talent to 60%. Additionally, he copied a single-layer pseudo-mystic speed talent from the same individual, elevating his own speed talent to 20%, reaping considerable rewards. Aside from this, he had been continuously staying in the War God Steel space, comprehending blade intent. Phew, Yi Tian opened his eyes, filled with joy. I've done it, 80% blade intent. He thought to himself. However, he had cheated. Indeed, he had secretly activated a time acceleration talent, but only covered himself with it, keeping others unaware of his use of the time talent. Under the thrice accelerated time, he had effectively meditated for 6 months, which allowed him to comprehend the 8-layer realm of blade intent. This kind of cheating was something only he could do, as others didn't possess the capability of time acceleration. Although maintaining this ability consumed a significant amount of his energy stones, it was well worth it. It seems the War God Tower isn't omnipotent. It didn't stop me from using time acceleration, probably it didn't detect it. Yi Tian speculated. With the 8-layer blade intent achieved, and the ancient civilization relic temple about to open, he decided not to linger any longer. It's time to leave, he thought as he left the War God Steel space and headed home. Upon arrival, he was surprised to find that his pet, Xiao Shui, had awakened. Xiao Shui, you're finally awake. You've been asleep for so many months. Yi Tian said, patting Xiao Shui's head. Master, I've found something new in my mind, Xiao Shui excitedly said. What is it? Yi Tian asked nervously, concerned about his beast companion. It seems like a legacy. I had a simple one when I was born, but now there are cultivation methods and something about comprehending mysteries, Xiao Shui casually remarked. What? Yi Tian's eyes widened in disbelief, staring intently at Xiao Shui. He soon understood. It was the legacy of the war-blood sky dragon race, which awakened in stages to ensure steady progress in cultivation. Unfortunately, the war-blood sky dragon race's secrecy was so strict that even Xiao Shui could only comprehend it by itself, unable to share it due to something akin to a vow. With no other choice, Yi Tian could only encourage Xiao Shui to cultivate diligently. After all, once Xiao Shui comprehended any mysteries, he could just copy them, so there was no envy. Xiao Shui, you're going to be my mobile mystery treasury. Yi Tian thought, looking at Xiao Shui. Poor Xiao Shui had no idea that its shameless master viewed it as a treasure trove, otherwise, it would surely have complaints. Xiao Shui, I'm planning to go out for a while. You stay in my advanced cultivation room and cultivate. Your current strength is too weak, I could crush you with just a finger, Yi Tian taunted Xiao Shui. HMPH, master, wait until you come back, I'll definitely be stronger than you. Xiao Shui retorted, feeling somewhat inflated after receiving the powerful dragon race legacy. Little did it know that no matter how strong it became, it could never surpass Yi Tian. After all, Yi Tian could copy all its talents, making any comparison futile. Chapter 151, The Temple Relics, at the bottom of the Changeling River. Chapter 151, The Temple Relics, at the bottom of the Changeling River. The Changeling River. On this day, one king-level martial artist after another arrived at this location. Each of them had an aura far surpassing that of an ordinary king-level practitioner, and any king beasts that approached them were instantly killed. In a short while, over 100 king-level practitioners had gathered along a certain part of the Changeling River's bank, and more were still arriving. We're here. Yi Tian descended from the sky and landed beside the Changeling River. Scanning the area, he saw many king-level martial artists. Yi Tian, you've come too. A soft voice called out to him. Yi Tian looked over and recognized a familiar face, Holy Maiden Shui. Yes, Yi Tian nodded lightly. At this moment, Holy Maiden Shui approached him. Yi Tian noticed many hostile glances coming his way, clearly from Holy Maiden Shui's admirers, who seemed to harbor animosity towards him. He didn't care about these gazes, considering them as insignificant as 147, a group of nobodies. Yi Tian, I didn't expect that you'd be able to get a temple key so soon after arriving at the Zonghai super base. Holy Maiden Shui was curious. Someone gave it to me. Yi Tian replied briefly, not elaborating. I see, Holy Maiden Shui nodded, somewhat understanding. She assumed it was given by a martial emperor of the Loose Cultivators Alliance, considering they had quotas too. Yi Tian saw that Holy Maiden Shui seemed to have misunderstood but didn't bother to explain. Holy Maiden Shui, how much do you know about the temple relics? Yi Tian asked. Not much, this is also my first time coming here. But a senior from the Moon God sect once visited and shared some information with me. The temple space is vast, with many buildings inside. The treasures are hidden in these buildings. Since each person can only take one treasure and is then teleported out, unable to re-enter the buildings, many treasures remain unclaimed. However, getting the treasures is quite difficult, as most of the buildings have guardians, Holy Maiden Shui explained. Guardians. This was the first time Yi Tian heard about this. Wang Yan hadn't mentioned it, probably because she didn't know either. Given Wang Yan's relatively low status in the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall and her inadequate strength to enter the temple space, she likely didn't know much about it. Yes, guardians. They are like golden armored spirits, appearing as real people, but they are actually a type of puppet, very lifelike puppets, Holy Maiden Shui continued. Only by defeating these guardians can one enter the buildings and take a treasure. Thank you, Holy Maiden Shui, Yi Tian expressed his gratitude. It's nothing, you would have found out soon enough once you're inside. I just mentioned it a bit earlier, Holy Maiden Shui replied with a slight smile. Yi Tian chatted briefly with Holy Maiden Shui, but his talent copying ability was constantly observing the other martial artists. There are quite a few with Morning Star level cultivation talents, even a few with Moonlight level cultivation talents. Yi Tian didn't care much about these morning star level and moonlight level cultivation talents since he already had a dawn level cultivation talent. He was more interested in the special talents of these king level practitioners. As time passed, more and more king level practitioners arrived, essentially dividing into two major camps, the Zonghai Super Base Camp and the Long River Super Base Camp. freewebnovel.com. In the Long River Super Base, there were also witchmen and tri-eyed people, but there was an additional race, the Sea People. The Sea People looked almost the same as normal humans, but lifting their clothes revealed sparse scales on their bodies, and their respiratory structures were slightly different from normal humans. The Sea People were originally humans who had been forced to enter a secret realm in the sea. Over the long passage of time, they evolved into their current form. Unfortunately, 100 years ago, disaster struck, and numerous ferocious beasts occupied the ocean, including the secret realm of the Sea People. With no choice, they fled along the Yangtze River and ultimately joined the Long River Super Base. Yi Tian noticed that most of the Sea People possessed water-related talents, making them much more powerful in water than other king-level practitioners. Another half-hour passed, and the king-level practitioners from both super bases had almost all arrived. Not a single mystic-level talent. Yi Tian realized just how rare mystic-level talents were to emerge. Even with the assistance of treasures like the war god steel, it was difficult for practitioners to achieve mystic-level talents. However, two talents piqued Yi Tian's interest, a 50% pseudo-mystic level defense talent and a 70% pseudo-mystic level strength talent. The 70% pseudo-mystic level strength talent belonged to Feng Lu Shui, the number 1 on the king ranking of the Zonghai Super Base, and the 50% pseudo-mystic level defense talent belonged to a witchman named Tig from the Long River Super Base. If I copy Taiga's 50% pseudo-mystic level defense talent, my pseudo-mystic level talent should directly transform into a mystic level defense talent. And with my strength talent already at 70% pseudo-mystic level, copying Feng Lu Shui's talent might transform it into a mystic level strength talent too. Yi Tian was indeed tempted. But he had a problem, his talent copying ability was still 2 days away from cooldown. He couldn't copy any talents right now. If only I hadn't copied earlier and saved it for now. Regret was useless at this point, so Yi Tian could only hope to encounter them in the temple space and secretly copy their talents then. It should be about time. A king-level practitioner suddenly spoke up. The other king levels nodded in agreement, and sure enough, within 10 minutes, a light emerged from the bottom of the Changeling River, piercing through the water surface and into the sky. The temple relics had appeared. Space fluctuations. Yi Tian felt strong spatial vibrations. He then remembered what Wang Yan had mentioned. The temple relics were at the river bottom, but they could only be found once every 10 years. At other times, they were utterly untraceable, even by emperors. Now I understand. The temple relics must be hidden in a space between layers. Unless one can break through the space and find the specific location of the relics, it's impossible to find them, Yi Tian realized. Let's go down. A king-level practitioner was the first to jump into the Changeling River, and a battle commenced below. The Changeling River was a paradise for ferocious beasts, with numerous king beasts and occasionally even saint-level beasts. Without strong abilities, one might not even reach the gates of the temple relics. Yi Tian also leapt into the Changeling River. Back then, when he had crossed the Changeling River alone, he was extremely cautious of encountering powerful beasts and quickly traversed it with Xiao Shui. But now, his strength was many times greater than before. The Changeling River was no longer a significant challenge for him. Even ordinary saint-level beasts could be easily slain with a single strike. A 5-star king-level practitioner was enough to contend with an ordinary saint level, and Yi Tian's true combat power was at the 8-star king level, probably even stronger than a typical 8-star king-level practitioner. In the Changeling River, countless beasts surged towards him, but Yi Tian effortlessly slew them with his sword, including those with powerful talents. Soon, he reached the bottom of the Changeling River. Chapter 152. The Golden Armored Corpse Puppet. Chapter 152. The Golden Armored Corpse Puppet. At the bottom of the Changeling River, Yi Tian stood with a group of king-level practitioners in front of a majestic temple, located on a vast plaza. This temple was incredibly large, occupying an area of about 10 miles. Despite the ravages of time, it still exuded an indescribable, majestic aura, as if it could swallow the sun, moon, and stars. The entire temple was enveloped by a thin-looking barrier, seemingly fragile but impenetrable even by emperors. Only those with a temple key could enter. Saints and emperors were unable to enter the temple, allowing opportunities like this to fall into the hands of king-level practitioners like Yi Tian, otherwise, the more powerful saints and emperors would have monopolized them. One by one, the king-level practitioners, holding their temple keys, walked into the light and easily passed through, stepping into the interior of the main hall of the temple. Hundreds of king-level practitioners entered the hall without crowding it, indicating its immense size. In the center of the grand hall was a light gate, the only direct passage to the temple space. All other directions were blocked by thick walls. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One after another, king-level practitioners entered the light gate without hesitation, and Yi Tian quickly followed. The familiar sensation of teleportation enveloped Yi Tian. He soon arrived in a completely different realm. My copying talent isn't suppressed here. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. In the temple, he had found his copying talent suppressed, which was somewhat frustrating. Now, in this new space, the suppression was gone, a pleasing turn of events. Otherwise, even after his copying talent's cooldown ended, he wouldn't have been able to copy anyone's talents here. It feels like this space isn't inside that temple, Yi Tian speculated. Although the temple was mysterious and only the main hall was accessible, it surely had more than just that one area. The other parts were simply inaccessible. The light gate in the temple seemed like a teleportation array, connecting to this unknown space. The space probably wasn't located within the temple, but rather, somewhere far away. If that's the case, it would explain why my copying talent isn't suppressed here, Yi Tian thought. The temple relics are too mysterious. Better not to think about it too much and focus on finding buildings. Yi Tian flew up into the air, surveying his surroundings. He had no idea where the other king-level practitioners were, everyone was teleported to different locations. Looking around, he couldn't see any other king-level practitioners. The vastness of the area was evident, given that hundreds had entered but none were visible. Yi Tian chose a direction at random and flew swiftly, scanning the ground below. In less than half an hour, he finally spotted a building. Swoosh, he flew towards it, arriving in front of the structure. It was a courtyard, resembling the residence of a powerful practitioner, covered by a formation. Top-tier formation talent, activate. Instantly. The entire formation became visible to Yi Tian, transforming into a world of layered spatial formations, incredibly complex. Such a terrifying formation, Yi Tian was astonished. What he could see was just the formation space visible to him, there might be even more complex layers that even a top-tier formation talent couldn't perceive. This suggested that the level of the formation might surpass that of a top-tier grand formation. Breaking through this formation will be difficult. Yi Tian shook his head, abandoning the idea. As he approached the courtyard gate, a golden armored warrior wielding a long spear appeared in front of him. Invading the master's residence, die. The golden armored warrior spoke coldly. A guardian creature. Yi Tian remembered Holy Maiden Shui's words. Clearly, this golden armored warrior was one of the guardians. Instinctively, Yi Tian covered the warrior with his copying talent. To his shock, he actually managed to see the guardian's talents. Type: Golden Armored Corpse Puppet. Cultivation talent: Extraordinary. Defense talent: Advanced. Strength talent: Intermediate. Spear technique talent: Intermediate. freewebnovel.com. Golden Armored Corpse Puppet. Could it be that someone transformed the corpse of a king level into a puppet? My copying talent can even copy the talents of a corpse, as long as the body is intact. This golden armored corpse puppet is a complete body, so it's possible for my talent to copy its abilities. Yi Tian realized this and tensed up. The force behind these temple relics from the ancient civilization era was definitely not righteous. The number of golden armored corpse puppets indicated how many bodies they had used to create these puppets. Using corpses to create puppets to guard one's home, this is the style of this force. But it's unclear what happened that transformed this space into a heritage site, perhaps as a training and assessment ground for the disciples of their force. However, only one item can be taken from each building. Over the long years, this force disappeared, and this space was preserved until our era when it was discovered by us, Yi Tian speculated. Without giving Yi Tian much time to think, the golden armored corpse puppet attacked. With a simple swing of his sword, Yi Tian cleaved the puppet in half. The sword light continued towards the formation, but it only caused minor ripples and failed to break the formation. Suddenly, the two halves of the corpse puppet were absorbed by the formation, and an entrance appeared. Yi Tian could enter now. He walked into the courtyard and saw several quaint rooms. He randomly opened a room and found it to be a study with some books. Touching one of the books, it turned to dust instantly. These are just ordinary books, Yi Tian thought to himself. Some books could last for thousands of years without decaying, but not ordinary books. After inspecting the study, Yi Tian found only 3 books that had survived. These books were made from the skin of a ferocious beast and had endured the passage of time without damage. Is this the script of the ancient civilization? Yi Tian opened the books and saw strange characters, neither modern nor ancient Chinese. He couldn't recognize the writing, but after flipping through them, he understood their content. The creators of these books had infused them with spiritual power that conveyed the meaning of the words to Yi Tian. Many secret texts had this effect, so it wasn't unusual. All 3 books were cultivation manuals. One was a silver-level sword technique called the cross-secret sword, one a high-level yuan energy cultivation technique, and the last discussed theories on spiritual power, particularly the concept that sufficiently strong spiritual power could exist eternally without a physical body. This theory was merely a curiosity for Yi Tian and not particularly useful. He chose not to take any of these books, sensing that if he took any, he would immediately be teleported away. Let's check the other rooms. Yi Tian moved towards the other rooms. Chapter 153. The formation breaks, anomaly arises. Chapter 153. The formation breaks, anomaly arises. It wasn't long before Yi Tian had opened and inspected every room in the courtyard. Indeed, there were many items of interest. For instance, he found a longsword of a top-tier Yuan force weapon, a level so high that in the Zonghai superbase, it was considered a divine weapon. Yi Tian surmised that in the ancient era, this sword would have been classified as an upper-tier divine weapon, though now it was only a mid-tier one. Unfortunately, this sword was of little use to Yi Tian. In the end, Yi Tian chose a barely sub-tier divine blade, one that was on the verge of losing its classification. He currently wielded a high-tier Yuan force blade, which was indeed a bit outdated, but this sub-tier divine blade, though inferior to the sword, suited Yi Tian better. With a bit more Yuan force nourishment, it likely wouldn't degrade in rank. Securing a sub-tier divine blade was, after all, a decent gain. With the sub-tier divine blade in hand, Yi Tian was suddenly transported away by a force. When he regained his senses, he found himself outside the courtyard's grand formation. He then continued his search for more buildings. As days passed, Yi Tian did find several buildings, but he didn't find any golden tier blade techniques or items to temper his spiritual force. The treasures he discovered were rather ordinary, mostly weapons, top-tier Yuan force cultivation techniques, and spirit medicines that could assist in breaking through meridians. These spirit medicines, protected by special formations, were potent and valuable. These treasures would have been significant to the old Yi Tian, but now, he barely gave them a second glance. On the 10th day, Yi Tian suddenly saw a beam of light piercing the sky in the distance and quickly flew towards it. Soon, he came upon a massive palace, grander than any building he had encountered before, where some king-level martial artists were faintly visible. Yi Tian surmised that the palace must contain worthwhile items and anticipated potential conflicts. It seems time to use my disguise talent, he thought. freewebnovel.com. Using his talent, Yi Tian changed his appearance and stature, turning into a pale-faced young man, and continued towards the palace. As he approached, he noticed numerous cracks in the palace and its partially broken formation. At that moment, several king-level fighters were attacking the formation. The light he had seen was the result of breaking one of the formation's nodes, causing the formation's energy to leak out. Long River Super Base people. Yi Tian frowned. The people from Long River Super Base noticed him too, their expressions changing. They knew Yi Tian was attracted by the bright light. Kill him. 2 king-level fighters charged at him, one wielding a spear technique that seemed to pierce through the void, and the other using a fire dragon talent, sending a massive dragon roaring towards Yi Tian. In terms of strength, they were both 4-star kings. Ants. Yi Tian moved swiftly, vanishing in an instant and slashing with his blade. In the next moment, 2 corpses fell from the sky. In his disguise, he wasn't worried about revealing his identity. Since they dared to attack him, he had no reason to spare their lives. You killed them. Do you know who they were? They were the top talents of our Long River Base's Iron Dragon Fort. A young man shouted at Yi Tian in anger. Yi Tian stared at him. If you're not satisfied, let's fight. The young man hesitated, not daring to speak. Then, a leading youth stepped forward. Friend from Zonghai Super Base, why not join forces? We've been trying to break this palace's formation for generations, and now it's almost destroyed. If we break it, we can take as many treasures as we like, without the restriction of only taking one. Cooperate. Fine, Yi Tian agreed. Yi Tian nodded in agreement and began to attack the formation as well. In secret, he assessed the talents of his temporary allies. The youth leading them, Sun Xinghe, possessed a moonlight-level talent and 3 pseudo-mystic talents, making him one of the top talents of the Long River Super Base with a combat strength of a 7-star king. Meanwhile, one of the youths whispered to Sun Xinghe, questioning why he didn't take action against Yi Tian, considering Sun's 7-star king level strength. Sun Xinghe, however, responded with caution, noting that Yi Tian's strength didn't seem much weaker than his own. He saw no reason to risk a fight over 2 fools, especially when Yi Tian's strength could aid in breaking the formation. He proposed to wait and see what treasures would be revealed upon breaking the formation, suggesting a possible alliance then. The others agreed, seeing the wisdom in Sun's approach. Yi Tian, although unable to hear their whispers, sensed that their intentions weren't entirely benevolent. Nevertheless, he found their cooperation convenient for the time being. After a day and night of relentless bombardment, another node of the formation was breached. The formation now seemed on the brink of collapse, with just one more node left to break. Excitement surged among everyone at the prospect of uncovering the treasures inside the Grand Palace. However, Yi Tian felt a sense of foreboding and hesitated to rush into the palace immediately. Their efforts finally paid off the next day as another node was broken. The Grand Formation lost its glow and became dormant. With the formation inactive, they could now take as many treasures as they wished. One of the king-level warriors rushed in, followed eagerly by others, all hoping to be the first to claim the treasures. Suddenly, a terrible scream echoed from within the palace. The first king-level warrior who had rushed in was now in agony. Following this, several king-level warriors fled out at full speed. Then, a shocking sight unfolded. Hordes of golden-armored corpse puppets emerged from the palace, overwhelming and tearing apart the king-level warriors, turning them into a cloud of blood mist. Sun Xinghe, with his 7-star king-level strength, transformed into an ancient war deity, unleashing a terrifying fist technique capable of dominating the stars. He managed to shatter several of these golden-armored puppets, showcasing his invincible prowess. However, when one of the puppets wielding a war blade sent him flying, Sun Xinghe's aura of dominance instantly dissipated, and he fled in terror, abandoning any thoughts of saving face or attaining treasure. Staying would mean certain death at the hands of the overwhelming number of corpse puppets. TL notes. Yuan force, Yuan energy, elemental energy, and Yuan qi can be understood as the same concept. They're all the same thing for the purposes of the story. When the novel makes a clear distinction between them, I'll make another note. Long River Super Base phonetically is Chang Super Base. Chapter 154. Mystic Level Defensive Talent and Morning Star Level Swordsmanship Talent. Chapter 154. Mystic Level Defensive Talent and Morning Star Level Swordsmanship Talent. It seems we've triggered some mechanism, causing a large number of golden-armored zombie puppets to appear. Yi Tian frowned. He had long suspected that there were more than one golden-armored zombie puppet in a building. If there were only one, then once someone killed it, wouldn't the people who came after not encounter any golden-armored zombie puppets? But in reality, that was not the case. Yi Tian speculated that the golden-armored zombie puppets were hidden deeper within an array space, difficult to find. Now, having broken the array, the zombie puppets in the array space all ran out at once. Among them, some had combat power not inferior to 4 or 5-star king-level fighters, especially the one that had just flung Sun Xinghe away, obviously a 7-star king-level golden-armored zombie puppet. This 7-star king-level golden-armored zombie puppet must have been a 7-star talent in life, but was refined into a puppet after death. Yi Tian detected a strong talent in it. Type: golden-armored zombie puppet. Cultivation talent: Morning Star level. Defensive talent: Pseudo-mystic 40%. Strength talent: top level. Swordsmanship talent: Morning Star. Speed talent: Pseudo-mystic level 20%. The puppet's speed and strength talents were much lower than a normal 7-star king level fighter, but it possessed a Morning Star level swordsmanship talent. Seeing the Morning Star level talent of this golden-armored zombie puppet, Yi Tian was tempted. He also practiced sword techniques, and such a talent was too important. He had always thought that above top-level swordsmanship talent would be pseudo-mystic, but now realized he was wrong. Weapon and martial arts talents, like cultivation talents, need to be cultivated and do not belong to the same category as other special talents. Now knowing about Morning Star level swordsmanship talent, it means there must be Moonlight level swordsmanship talent. However, it seems humans do not have high weapon talents, as even Zonghai Super Base does not have a Morning Star level swordsmanship talent. Copy. Yi Tian used one copy opportunity on the Morning Star level swordsmanship talent of the golden-armored zombie puppet. As for the second copy opportunity, in the end, Yi Tian chose the pseudo-mystic defensive talent. The golden armored zombie puppet's pseudo-mystic defensive talent was at 40%, while its pseudo-mystic speed talent was only at 20%. Moreover, once he copied this pseudo-mystic defensive talent, perhaps he could truly elevate it to a mystery level. Originally, Yi Tian planned to copy Tiger's 50% pseudo-mystic defensive talent, but since he hadn't encountered him, he decided to copy the 40% pseudo-mystic defensive talent of this golden armored zombie puppet. Copy. He acquired the 40% pseudo-mystic defensive talent. Just then, a large number of golden armored zombie puppets attacked Yi Tian, including the 7-star king level 1. Die. Yi Tian waved his hand, and a sea of fire descended. This was Yi Tian's 30% pseudo-mystic fire domain talent. Boom. freewebnovel.com. Countless flames burned many weaker golden armored zombie puppets to ash, but for the stronger ones, these flames were like tickling. Even so, he killed more than 100 golden armored zombie puppets. At the same time, Yi Tian also killed the 7-star king level golden armored zombie puppet and collected its body, which had a 20% pseudo-mystic speed talent for future copying. Just as Yi Tian was about to attack other golden armored zombie puppets, a terrifying aura came from the depths of the hall. A saint-level puppet. Yi Tian's expression changed. A black zombie puppet burst out from the hall, its aura far stronger than that of an ordinary saint level. This was definitely a top-tier saint-level zombie puppet. Go. Yi Tian didn't dare to linger and kept teleporting away. After teleporting a great distance, he finally stopped. Alone, Yi Tian dug a small hole in the ground and began to integrate the talents he had just acquired. First, integrate the pseudo-mystic defensive talent. Yi Tian was somewhat excited about the birth of a mystery-level talent and decided to first integrate the pseudo-mystic defensive talent. Boom. The integration began. In an instant, dense defensive mystic fluctuations appeared on Yi Tian's body, forming threads that seemed to be etched into his skin. But Yi Tian, consumed by unbearable pain, didn't notice this. After an unknown duration, Yi Tian finally regained consciousness. He had passed out. The first thing he did was to check his talent status. Defensive talent. Mystic level. Mystic level defensive talent, my first mystic level talent. Yi Tian was excited. Immediately, he tested the amplification effect of the mystic level talent. Unable to connect to the virtual world through the War God ring in this space, he couldn't use the virtual world to test the effect. Instead, he resorted to the simplest method, attacking himself. The test concluded quickly. 100 times amplification. Yi Tian was very satisfied. A mystic level defensive talent that could increase defense by 100 times was already incredibly powerful. Coupled with his top-level healing talent and the pseudo-mystic level Vajra Bone talent, he was nearly invincible. Moreover, Yi Tian could clearly feel that the defensive mystique had fully integrated with his body. When activating the mystic level talent, faint patterns of laws even appeared on his skin, which were the talent patterns engraved by the laws. Mystic level talent had become as innate as his bodily instincts, completely fused with his soul and body. Furthermore, mystic level defensive talent, activate. A huge defensive shield enveloped Yi Tian, with mysterious defensive law patterns on it. He had externalized his mystic level defensive talent. He knew what this meant. Not only could he use the mystic level defensive talent to protect himself, but also those around him. In other words, the mystic level defensive talent was far more powerful than the pseudo-mystic level 1. Next, Yi Tian began integrating the Morning Star level swordsmanship talent. 10 minutes later, the integration of Morning Star level swordsmanship talent was successful. Now, Yi Tian's swordsmanship talent had evolved to Morning Star level. Swordsmanship talent. Morning Star. Let's comprehend the sword intent. Holding a sword, Yi Tian cultivated his sword intent. The previously obscure sword intent now flowed into his mind like water, breaking many shackles with ease, and allowing him to comprehend deeper levels of sword intent. The comprehension speed has increased at least 5-fold. The Morning Star level swordsmanship talent is so incredible. Yi Tian was amazed, then smiled. This space was definitely his treasure trove. To encounter such a rare Morning Star level swordsmanship talent here, there might be even more rare talents to discover. Time is running out. We were only allowed to stay in this space for a month, and 10 days have already passed, leaving only 20 days. It's going to be very hard to make a significant gain in 20 days. Yi Tian frowned tightly. He didn't want to give up the treasures in that hall, nor the golden armored zombie puppets. He wanted to kill them and take them away to slowly copy their talents later. But his strength was not strong enough to defeat that saint-level zombie puppet. By his estimation, the saint-level puppet's attack power was at least above 20 dragons. Although his strength talent had increased to 50% pseudo-mystic level, giving him a 50 times strength amplification, his total attack power was only about 12 dragons, far less than the opponent's 20 dragons. More crucially, the top-tier saint-level puppet was too fast. If it weren't for his constant teleportation and the puppet's lack of interest in leaving the vicinity of the hall, he might not have escaped. As a king-level fighter, unless I possess multiple mystic-level talents or even elevate my strength talent to the mystic level, I can't defeat that saint-level puppet, unless… Yi Tian thought of a plan. Chapter 155. Stepping into the saint level, sweeping everything in sight. Chapter 155. Stepping into the saint level, sweeping everything in sight. Would I be able to sweep through all the metallic puppets in that hall if I break through to the saint level here? Yi Tian pondered. Although the saint-level puppet seemed powerful, it was far inferior to the saint-level powerhouses on the saint ranking. It wasn't an invincible saint level, otherwise, it could have crossed the void and killed him with a single hand. Typically, a newly advanced saint-level being would have a body strength of about 100,000 elephant strength. Even with special talents, having an attack power of 1 dragon would be impressive, and that saint-level zombie puppet was definitely unbeatable for an ordinary saint level. But Yi Tian was different. His attack power had reached the strength of 12 dragons. Once he broke through to the saint level, his body strength would increase tenfold, reaching an incredible 120 dragons. This space allows saint-level puppets to exist, which means it doesn't suppress realms. It's just that the temple doesn't allow those above the saint level to enter. I can definitely try to break through to the saint level here. Others might need their pseudo-mystic level talents to reach over 70% to advance, but I don't need that. I already have a mystic level defensive talent. Though it's a pity not to elevate my other talents to mystic level, I can always copy more mystic level talents later. Yi Tian thought. He wasn't worried about the talent issue, so advancing now wouldn't be a problem. Compared to the gains, this slight loss was negligible. So, Yi Tian made a decision to break through to the saint level right here. Immediately, Yi Tian sat down cross-legged and began cultivating the Azure Energy Soul Refining Technique from the Azure Energy Secret Art, using this secret technique to temper his mental strength. Boom, boom, boom. In the mental realm, Yi Tian's mental strength vibrated non-stop, shaking out impurities and growing stronger and stronger. Transforming mental strength into divine consciousness was a process of refinement and purification. Mental strength was intangible, while divine consciousness was like a substance. Turning mental strength into divine consciousness was essentially a process of condensation. As time passed, he condensed more and more of his mental strength. The power of his dawn cultivation talent began to show. 1/10 condensed, 2/10, 3/10. In just one day, Yi Tian condensed a third of his mental strength. By the end of the second day, he had completed 90%. On the third day, Yi Tian finally reached the last barrier, full condensation. Break. The last bit of mental strength finally transformed under Yi Tian's will. Then, the transformation began. Boom, his divine consciousness fully condensed, bursting out from the sea of the soul and spreading outwards. 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, everything within 1,000 miles was under the control of his divine consciousness. This was the power of saint-level divine consciousness. Meanwhile, Yi Tian's body was covered in boundless yuan force energy, which surged crazily into his body, tempering it and exponentially increasing his physical strength. However, there seemed to be a shortage of yuan energy here. With no other choice, Yi Tian took out numerous beast blood from his personal space, creating a sea of blood. He then used his blood-sucking talent to absorb the blood, replenishing the urgently needed energy, and also took out a large amount of yuan qi stones to replenish the yuan energy. After exhausting all his beast blood and yuan qi stones, the advancement finally stopped. At that moment, Yi Tian felt a tremor in his soul, and insights flooded in. Upon advancing to the saint level, one's understanding would reach an incredible level, enough to elevate a 70% pseudo-mystic level talent to mystic level. Although Yi Tian didn't have a 70% mystic level talent, he could probably elevate his 60% pseudo-mystic level strength talent to 90%, right? Comprehend the strength talent. Yi Tian began to comprehend, deepening his understanding of the strength mystique. Half an hour later, the insights faded. By then, Yi Tian's pseudo-mystic level strength talent had reached 90%. Yi Tian stood up, and with a slight movement, space vibrated. His physical strength was now 10 times more powerful than before, and he had some trouble controlling it. After a while, Yi Tian finally fully mastered his body's strength. Almost there, time to head back to that hall. Yi Tian murmured. Swoosh. In a flash, Yi Tian turned into a streak of light, cutting across the sky. Before long, he returned to the hall. As he approached the hall, a large number of golden-armored zombie puppets rushed out. Die. With a casual slap, Yi Tian killed a large number of golden-armored zombie puppets. He preserved the bodies of a few with pseudo-mystic level speed talents and one with a pseudo-mystic level strength talent, storing them in his personal space. Boom. The Black Saint level zombie puppet rushed out, its formidable aura enveloping the area. But for the current Yi Tian, the aura of the Saint level puppet was just a mere breeze. Check. With a thought, Yi Tian assessed the talent situation of the Saint level puppet, which appeared on his retinal display. Type. Black Luster Zombie Puppet. Cultivation Talent. Morning Star Level. Strength Talent. High. Speed Talent. Medium. freewebnovel.com. From the talents, this Saint level puppet seemed quite ordinary, lacking any powerful talents. It must have had high cultivation to possess such strength. No value. With a slash, Yi Tian bisected the Saint level puppet, killing it. Afterward, Yi Tian cleared out all the golden-armored zombie puppets and then entered the hall. A moment of great harvest had arrived. Superior divine weapons, collected. Top-level vital energy cultivation secrets, collected. Rare spiritual medicines, collected. Exotic ores, collected. Yi Tian thoroughly looted every secret chamber in the hall, leaving nothing behind. Finally, Yi Tian reached the last and main secret chamber of the hall. Although the chamber was protected by an array, its power had weakened significantly due to the main hall's array being broken. It might even dissipate on its own soon. This main chamber has an array. It seems that no one has entered here before. There might be a great harvest. Yi Tian was excited. Break. With a full force attack of his heavenly extreme slash, he shattered the array and opened the chamber door. Inside, he found it was a large inner hall, quite empty except for a row of shelves on one wall with some items. Yi Tian walked over and quickly scanned the items. A golden secret manual, a sword, a seed, 3 bottles of pills, 5 black books, a token. Besides these, there was nothing else. Yi Tian first opened the golden secret manual, and his excitement soared, a gold-level sword technique. The manual contained the Desolate Sword Domain, a wide-ranging sword technique, which was rarer and more valuable than single-target techniques. After a quick glance, Yi Tian stored it in his personal space, relieved. The sword was beyond the scope of top-level Yuan energy swords, surpassing even divine weapons. Its exact level was unclear to him, but it was undoubtedly invaluable. Collected. The seed, emitting a faint life force despite the long years, was also precious, so he collected it too. He didn't bother with the other items for now, storing them all to examine later after leaving this place. After securing all the treasures, Yi Tian left the Great Hall. Chapter 156. The Era of Sects. The Era of Ferocious Beasts. Chapter 156. The Era of Sects. The Era of Ferocious Beasts. Yi Tian had a premonition that if he didn't leave the Great Hall, he would surely encounter other martial artists. Sun Xinghe and others had not perished. Even though the hall's array was broken and it was filled with numerous golden-armored zombie puppets, they might forsake the pursuit of mystic-level talents for those treasures. They hadn't tried to break through to the Saint level earlier simply because they thought they could break the array in a short time, not finding it necessary to rush the breakthrough. But they had not anticipated the emergence of so many golden-armored zombie puppets, leading to their miscalculation. Once Sun Xinghe and the other survivors were safe, they would surely try to break through to the Saint level and then return to the hall. Too bad, your speed in breaking through to the Saint level is a bit slow. Yi Tian thought to himself. With his Dawn-level cultivation talent, it took Yi Tian less than 3 days to reach the Saint level. For people like Sun Xinghe, it would take at least 7 to 8 days. Yi Tian flew to a mountain and created a temporary cave dwelling to inspect the last few treasures, 3 bottles of pills, 5 black books, and a token. First, he assimilated the token and discovered it was a core disciple token of the Black Sky Corps sect, which was of no use to him. Then, he examined the 5 books. By now, he could understand the texts, having remembered the contents of the previous books and deciphering the meaning transmitted by the mental strength linked to each character. The 5 books were not cultivation manuals, 3 were on alchemy, including recipes for several incredibly powerful pills that could enhance or improve talents. However, the required ingredients were so rare that Etienne had never even heard of them, making them nearly impossible to obtain. The other two books detailed the Black Sky Corps sect, revealing a misconception Etienne and even Wang Yan had. The ancient civilization was not from Earth but an extraterrestrial civilization. The Black Sky Corps sect was from another world or planet, and due to an accident, some of its disciples arrived on Earth through a spatial rift, along with disciples from other planetary sects. During that era, many powerful beings fought on Earth, leaving it devastated and draining its yuan energy. Eventually, these sects abandoned Earth, returning through spatial rifts, leaving behind some relics. The two books were written by a great martial emperor of the Black Sky Corps sect, who, after completing them, left Earth with the sect's powerhouses, leaving behind only a temple and some outer disciples. These outer disciples, lacking yuan force energy on Earth, couldn't enhance their strength and died when their lifespans ended. Their descendants couldn't become martial artists, leading to the gradual loss of the Black Sky Corps sect's lineage. Now I understand that the so-called ancient civilization relics are the remnants of these sects. During that era, Earth probably had many spatial rifts like today, but they connected to the worlds of these sects, whereas now they connect to the world of ferocious beasts. The era of ancient civilization can be seen as the era of sects, and now as the era of ferocious beasts. Everything is that simple, Yi Tian murmured. Despite the chaos these sects caused on Earth, they left behind many legacies, which were crucial for humanity's survival in the era of ferocious beasts. After reviewing the 5 books, Yi Tian finally understood the 3 bottles of pills: a cultivation talent pill, a god-forging pill, and a longevity pill. The cultivation talent pill could elevate a martial artist's cultivation talent to morning star level, with only 1 pill inside. The god-forging pill, which had 3, could help a king-level martial artist break through to the saint level. The longevity pill was extraordinary, adding 100 years to one's lifespan, a treasure many old monsters dreamt of. These items were left by the great emperor for the descendants of the Black Sky Corps sect, but unfortunately, they never discovered the main secret chamber, or these items would not have been preserved. Yi Tian even speculated that the damage to the Great Hall's array might have been caused by the battles of the Black Sky Corps sect's outer disciples. The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Regrettably for others, they didn't take away those treasures, and now Yi Tian was the lucky beneficiary. Those god-forging pills could be given to Wang Yan, and the rest are all mine. With these and the treasures from the Great Hall, my wealth has increased manifold. Yi Tian was filled with excitement. However, his excitement didn't last long as he soon realized a limitation. He couldn't acquire any more treasures. In one building he found, no golden armored zombie puppets appeared, and he couldn't break the array. Initially, he thought it was a coincidence, but after encountering the same situation in several other buildings, he came to a conclusion. The arrays of these buildings could sense cultivation levels, and once someone surpassed the saint level, they could no longer acquire treasures. The arrays were not accessible to saints, only to kings. Why didn't anyone tell me this? No wonder those at the king level didn't rush to break through to the saint level. They could access the treasures, but as a saint, I can't get any. Yi Tian had an epiphany. Suddenly, he thought of Sun Xinghe. If Sun Xinghe broke through to the saint level and then went to the Great Hall, only to find no treasures left, and knowing that he couldn't get more treasures himself, would he go mad? Probably, Yi Tian said with a laugh. In another part of the temple space, Sun Xinghe was breaking through to the saint level. After 7 days of closed-door cultivation, with his moonlight-level cultivation talent, he was about to complete the condensation of his mental strength and form his divine consciousness. Boom! His divine consciousness was born, and his cultivation level broke through. Quickly, his body strength increased tenfold, as did his speed and defensive power. Utilizing the incredible insight gained during the breakthrough, he managed to elevate his pseudo-mystic level strength talent to 90%. His power surged again. Ha ha ha, all the treasures in the Great Hall are mine. Sun Xinghe laughed maniacally and rushed eagerly towards the Great Hall. Upon arrival, he found no golden armored zombie puppets, which puzzled him. As he entered the hall, his excitement turned to rage. Where are my treasures? Who took them? Sun Xinghe was furious. He had given up the chance to elevate his pseudo-mystic level strength talent to the mystic level, planning to spend more years enhancing it to 70% before attempting to break through to the saint level. But now, the treasures were gone, and his plan to ascend to the mystic level strength talent was ruined. His loss was tremendous. Moreover, having reached the saint level, he could no longer search for treasures in the buildings. freewebnovel.com. Damn it, who could it be? Sun Xinghe realized someone must have broken through to the saint level before him and cleared out the place. His mind raced through the faces of various kings, but it eventually settled on one person. That pale-faced young man. He remembered Yi Tian, but the Yi Tian he had seen was in disguise. He would never be able to find the real Yi Tian. Chapter 157, Opening the Brain Domain. Yi Tian knew that he couldn't obtain any more treasures, so he stopped searching for them. After all, one could only acquire a single treasure from a building, and there wasn't much time left to obtain more. He didn't lack those few treasures anyway. Thus, Yi Tian began his cultivation. He practiced the gold-level saber technique, Desolate Sword Domain. With his 80% saber intent, he was capable of cultivating this technique to a minor completion level. Besides cultivating the gold-level saber technique, Yi Tian also started practicing at the saint level. The cultivation at the saint level was different from the king level. Cultivation at the king level mainly focused on opening the acupoints, while saint level cultivation involved opening the brain domain. Consciousness was a fundamental aspect of opening the brain domain. Without it, rashly attempting to do so could result in death or severe disability. In the 21st century, many experts believed that a normal person's brain domain development was only between 5 to 10%. However, in reality, humans had developed less than 1% of their brain domain. Earlier, humans naively thought they had developed 10%, but that was only the superficial part of the brain domain. The deeper consciousness space of the brain domain had not been touched at all. Through cultivation, humans had opened the superficial part of their brain domain, significantly improving memory, but that was just the development of the shallow brain domain. Saint-level cultivation aimed at developing the deeper brain domain. Starting from 1% of the deep brain domain, every 1% opened significantly enhanced the human body's strength, speed, and defense. Once 100% of the brain domain was opened, a saint-level individual's physical strength could reach 10 dragon units. However, a saint-level supreme expert, without special talents, could only reach a maximum attack strength of 20 dragons, far less than Yi Tian currently. If a martial artist did not enhance their talent at the king level, it would be very difficult to increase their talent at the saint level, and even a talent pill would not work for saints. A saint without special talents was considered much less significant than a king-level genius. Of course, saints without special talents were scarce, as those who could cultivate to the saint level generally had at least morning star level cultivation talents. A genius with morning star level cultivation talent who failed to obtain talent-enhancing treasures was considered a failure. 3 days later, Yi Tian cultivated the gold-level Desolate Sword Domain technique to the entry level, and 10 days later, he achieved the minor completion stage. At this point, Yi Tian's cultivation of the Desolate Sword Domain hit a bottleneck and it was difficult to make further breakthroughs. Nevertheless, Yi Tian was quite satisfied because the Desolate Sword Domain could amplify his attack power by 15 times. Although the increase was not substantial, it was an AoE attack technique, incredibly powerful in group battles. With the 15-fold attack power of the Desolate Sword Domain, Yi Tian's combat strength surged. He calculated that his current physical strength was 100,000 elephants, and after Yuan energy power amplification, it was 200,000 elephants, equivalent to 0.2 dragons. Upon advancing to the saint level, he had enhanced his strength talent to the 9th grade pseudo-mystic level, which could amplify the attack by 80 times. With the Desolate Sword Domain providing a 15-fold attack, his strongest attack could reach 240 dragon power, enough to instantly kill a group of peak-level saints without special talents. I am really powerful, Yi Tian took a deep breath and said. But he knew that the saint level was just the beginning. He had only opened 1% of his deep brain domain. As he continued to open it, his power would become even more terrifying. Saints, emperors, would one day be like ants in his eyes. Time passed, and a month was about to end. On this day, a repelling force appeared, and Yi Tian was teleported out of the temple space, appearing in the grand hall of the temple. However, he had already removed his disguised talent and reverted to his original appearance. Other king-level cultivators were also teleported out. However, as soon as they arrived, an intense killing intent pervaded the air. Sun Qinghe, what do you mean by hunting our Zonghai Super Bases king-level cultivators? Feng Lu Shui steadily approached Sun Qinghe, his aura pressing down on Sun Qinghe, causing his complexion to change. This was because Feng Lu Shui had already reached the saint level. Unlike Sun Qinghe, Feng Lu Shui had obtained a treasure in the temple space, which allowed him to raise his strength talent to 70% pseudo-mystic level. Thus, he immediately broke through to the saint level, raising 70% pseudo-mystic level strength talent to mystery level strength talent. As a result, Feng Lu Shui's combat power skyrocketed many times over, far surpassing Sun Qinghe. HMPH, it's the law of the jungle. What does it matter if I kill them? Your Zonghai super base also killed our Long River super base's king-level cultivators and even stole a palace's treasure. Sun Qinghe said angrily. At this moment, his eyes swept across the entire hall, but he couldn't find that particular young cultivator. They were all teleported out together, surely that person couldn't have escaped in time. Before Sun Qinghe could ponder further, Feng Lu Shui's murderous intent descended. Are you suggesting that if I kill you, it would be justified? Feeling Feng Lu Shui's killing intent, Sun Qinghe was terrified and quickly said, Feng Lu Shui, have you gone mad? If you dare to kill me here, the emperor backing me will not let you off. Do you think I don't have an emperor backing me? Feng Lu Shui replied coldly. At this moment, other geniuses began to intervene. Yi Tian, standing aside, understood the situation. For the sake of advancing to the saint level, Sun Qinghe, unable to obtain more treasures, had hunted and killed several geniuses from Zonghai super base and stolen their treasures. This act was now exposed. Thus, Feng Lu Shui began pursuing Sun Qinghe, who would likely have been dead if he hadn't been timely teleported away. Just then, the temple began to shake. The temple is disappearing, everyone quickly leave. One by one, the king-level cultivators rushed out of the temple, leaving the riverbed and emerging above the river's surface. Many king-level cultivators departed, but Feng Lu Shui didn't let Sun Qinghe leave because one of the deceased was from the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall. Just when Yi Tian thought Feng Lu Shui and Sun Qinghe were about to fight, a figure appeared. It was an emperor. Grandfather! Sun Qinghe exclaimed excitedly upon seeing this emperor. Emperor Qingyan! Feng Lu Shui's expression changed upon seeing him. Soon, an emperor from the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall appeared. This emperor said directly, Emperor Qingyan, give us 10,000 yuan chi stones and 10 low-grade treasures that increase king-level special talents, and we can let this matter pass. Or, we let Feng Lu Shui and Sun Qinghe fight to the death. Which do you choose? I am willing to give 10,000 yuan chi stones and 10 treasures that increase king-level special talents. Emperor Qingyan conceded. Emperor Battle Blood. Yi Tian's expression changed, recognizing the emperor's identity. He was one of the top 30 emperors on the emperor's list, ranked 17th, an incredibly terrifying existence. Emperor Qingyan, undoubtedly far inferior to Emperor Battle Blood, had no choice but to concede. Observing the talents of Emperor Battle Blood and Feng Lu Shui, Yi Tian was very eager to copy them. Unfortunately, his copying ability was on cooldown. Otherwise, he would surely copy their mystery-level talents. Feng Lu Shui had a mystery-level strength talent, and Emperor Battle Blood had a mystery-level boiling blood talent. Well, I'll copy them later, Yi Tian said helplessly. Chapter 158. The Frenzied Sword Saint, Advancing to Saint Level. Chapter 158. The Frenzied Sword Saint, Advancing to Saint Level. Yi Tian, let's leave together. Holy Maiden Shui approached with a smile on her face, clearly having reaped good rewards in the temple space. Sure, Yi Tian agreed without hesitation, and they left together. After arriving at Zonghai Super Base, they parted ways. Yi Tian returned home and immediately contacted Wang Yan. Upon receiving Yi Tian's message, Wang Yan hurried to his residence. Yi Tian, I'm so glad you returned safely. Wang Yan looked at Yi Tian with a hint of longing in her eyes. Yi Tian understood what her gaze meant and didn't hesitate to hand her a god-forging pill, which he had fortunately acquired and stored in a new bottle. Sister Wang, this is a god-forging pill, a lucky find of mine. It can refine spiritual power. Unfortunately, I only managed to get one. One is enough. Wang Yan excitedly accepted the pill. Such a pill should only be consumed once. Taking more wouldn't make a difference. If one god-forging pill can't help me advance to the saint level, then it's probably my fate not to reach that level. Sister Wang's accumulation is sufficient, you'll surely succeed. Yi Tian wished her well. Thank you for your blessing, Wang Yan smiled. Then, she looked at Yi Tian curiously. Yi Tian, your aura seems, have you advanced to the saint level? Yes, I encountered some trouble in the temple space and had to forcefully break through to the saint level, Yi Tian explained. I'm sorry you missed an opportunity because of me, Wang Yan said guiltily, believing that Yi Tian had wasted a chance to enhance his mystery-level talent for her. She was unaware of Yi Tian's actual gains. Missing an opportunity to reach the mystery level was not something easily compensated by ordinary gains. Yi Tian didn't explain further. he couldn't reveal his acquisition of the mystery-level defense talent, as it was related to his trump card. He preferred to keep hidden. Wang Yan didn't stay long at Yi Tian's place and soon left, seemingly eager to start her breakthrough to the saint level. Yi Tian then began to organize his gains from the venture. First were the weapons. The best saber he acquired surpassed the top-level Yuan Force sabers and would serve as his primary weapon. Next were the Yuan Force cultivation secret techniques. He had been practicing the Azure Energy secret art, a second-grade top-tier technique. However, this time he acquired more than 10 second-grade top-tier techniques. The best of which was the Golden Body Yuan Force secret technique. He also obtained 2 even better first-grade top-tier Yuan Energy secret techniques, but they required cultivation using the aura of corpses combined with the natural Yuan Qi, which he didn't dare to attempt. He wasn't sure of the potential side effects of these techniques, even though they could use beast corpses as a substitute. In terms of saber techniques, the owner of the palace he raided seemed to be a saber talent, having collected numerous techniques. Apart from the gold-level desolate sword domain, there were also several silver-level saber techniques, totaling 20, and no fewer than 50 bronze-level techniques. The pills he found were mostly for refining the body, meridians, and opening acupoints, with a few assisting in opening the brain domain. Additionally, he found several books on arrays, including top-tier grand arrays and a morning star level array. Though he couldn't learn the morning star level array due to his lack of relevant talents and his primary focus not being on arrays, there was one top-tier Qi gathering array he was particularly interested in. Yi Tian's current cultivation room was only of a high level, but the top-tier Qi gathering array could allow him to build a top-tier cultivation room, significantly increasing his cultivation speed. However, the materials required to construct a top-tier cultivation room were more precious, some of which he had found in the palace. The rest he hoped to acquire through the Loose Cultivators Alliance. Yi Tian meticulously categorized his other gains. Among the many treasures, several were of no use to him and were better off traded. Thus, he prepared to head to the headquarters of the Loose Cultivators Alliance to make exchanges. At the headquarters of the Loose Cultivators Alliance, Yi Tian spent considerable effort trading various treasures for items he needed, such as Yuan Qi stones. Both high-level and top-level cultivation rooms demand a high quantity of Yuan Qi stones, and without sufficient stones, maintaining a top-level cultivation room would be impossible. Additionally, Yi Tian sought pills and medicines for rapidly restoring Yuan energy and physical strength, crucial for when he needed to activate his time acceleration ability, which consumed a lot of power. After trading numerous treasures, Yi Tian acquired 80,000 Yuan Qi stones and various types of pills, medicines, and saint-level beast blood. However, he hadn't started trading the top-tier items yet. He planned to trade the gold-level Desolate Sword Domain technique for a gold-level single-target saber technique, as he couldn't always use Desolate Sword Domain without affecting others in the vicinity. Without using it, his maximum attack power would significantly decrease, which was not beneficial for unleashing his full strength. Hence, he urgently needed a gold-level single-target saber technique. Soon, he found information for trading gold-level saber techniques. Open black lens bracket for sale. Gold level saber technique, instant slash. Trading requirement. Gold level group attack saber technique. Publisher. Frenzied Sword Saint. Close black lens bracket. Is it really published by the Frenzied Sword Saint? Yi Tian was surprised. The Frenzied Sword Saint was not just any saint level cultivator but a great saint level powerhouse. Zonghai Super Base had strict classifications for saint-level cultivators, not based on cultivation level but on combat power, divided into ordinary saints, minor saints, great saints, and saint kings. A saint without special talents, upon reaching the pinnacle of saint level, could achieve a physical strength of 10 dragon power and an attack strength of 20 dragon power, barely qualifying as a minor saint. Minor saints ranged from 20 to 100 dragon power, great saints from 100 to 1000 dragon power, and those with over 1000 dragon power were considered saint kings. Reaching the saint king level was extremely difficult, not due to a lack of talent but because of the speed of cultivation. For instance, if the top king level cultivators on the king's list cultivated to the pinnacle of saint level, could easily reach saint king level and even effortlessly kill average saint kings. However, opening the brain domain was incredibly challenging. Many combat geniuses on the king's list had only morning star level talents and could take hundreds or even 1,000 years to open 100% of their deep brain domain. Since the Great Change on Earth over 100 years ago, humans had only been cultivating for just over a century, and even the ancient humans weren't much stronger than modern humans. Thus, many geniuses who advanced to the saint level had only opened a small percentage of their brain domain, making those who reached the great saint level exceptionally powerful, while saint kings were few and far between. According to the saints list, there were only a few saint kings. As for emperors, each one had tremendous fate and fortune, likely having acquired opportunities like temple relics multiple times, spending countless resources and possessing moonlight-level talents to eventually reach the emperor level. The frenzied sword saint, ranked 37th on the saints list, was a formidable force, not weaker than Yi Tian's current strength. Yi Tian accepted the trade information and contacted the frenzied sword saint. Soon, the frenzied sword saint arrived. Chapter 159, Frenzied Exchange. Chapter 159, Frenzied Exchange. In the Loose Cultivators Alliance, there was a room specifically for exchanges. Yi Tian met with the frenzied sword saint there. A martial saint. The frenzied sword saint curiously glanced at Yi Tian, realizing he did not recognize him, but he didn't mind. After all, it was common for people to ascend to saint level at any time, and since he often wasn't at Zonghai Super Base, it was normal for him not to recognize newly ascended saints. The Loose Cultivators Alliance focused solely on exchanges, not involving any other matters. Are you the one who wants to exchange gold-level saber techniques with me? Frenzied Sword Saint asked directly. Yes. Yi Tian nodded but immediately added, I indeed have a group attack gold-level saber technique, but the value of a group attack gold-level saber technique is much higher than that of a single attack gold-level technique. Yi Tian's implication was clear. His gold-level saber technique was more valuable, so the other party should pay a higher price. However, the frenzied sword saint replied, you might not understand, but instant slash not only possesses the amplification effect of a single attack gold-level saber technique, but it can also amplify saber skills by 2 times. Its value is not comparable to ordinary gold-level techniques. If it weren't so, I wouldn't have offered an equivalent exchange for a group attack gold-level technique. The Loose Cultivators Alliance values equivalent exchange, and as one of its high-ranking members, I won't break the rules. Able to amplify saber skills by 2 times. Yi Tian was delighted internally. This effect was similar to his own silver-level saber technique, Heavenly Extreme Slash. Alright, I agree. Yi Tian nodded in agreement. Subsequently, both swore oaths and exchanged their gold-level saber techniques. Yi Tian handed over the original copy of his gold-level technique, Desolate Sword Domain, to the Frenzied Sword Saint, and in return, the Frenzied Sword Saint gave Yi Tian the original copy of Instant Slash. The two exchanged their gold-level techniques. After confirming everything was correct, the exchange was completed. Pleasure doing business with you. Pleasure doing business with you. Throughout the process, the Frenzied Sword Saint never asked for Yi Tian's name, and Yi Tian didn't offer it. In equivalent exchange, only the items were exchanged, nothing else was asked. After the exchange of the gold-level saber technique Instant Slash, Yi Tian was very satisfied. He then found a buyer interested in a large quantity of saber techniques, trading 6 silver-level techniques and several bronze-level techniques, in exchange for 100,000 yuan chi stones. Afterward, Yi Tian posted the 2 top-grade primary force cultivation secrets from the Black Sky Corps sect for exchange, requesting 3 items that could add high-level special talents to a martial body, or alternatively 1 item that could add a top-level talent. Items that could enhance talents were always priceless and scarce, but so were top-grade primary force cultivation secrets. Moreover, his exchange requirements were not high, asking only for items that could add high-level special talents or top-level special talents to a martial body. If it were to enhance a king-level talent, the value would undoubtedly be much more expensive. It was more cost-effective to cultivate martial bodies from a young age. If one waited until advancing to king level before cultivating their talents, the cost would be tens or even hundreds of times more expensive. Cultivating talents at saint level was almost unrealistic, as no power could afford that. Thus, Yi Tian wanted to quickly enhance his sister Yi Yu's talents, otherwise, once Yi Yu advanced to king level, the cost of enhancing her talents would be too high, unaffordable without the support of a top-level power. Just 3 days later, someone responded to Yi Tian's post, and they contacted him for an exchange. Once again at the Loose Cultivators Alliance, Yi Tian met with the martial body he was exchanging with. The other party was a king level, and Yi Tian recognized him. It's you. Yi Tian was somewhat surprised. The other party turned out to be a king level he had previously met in the Divine Temple space, ranked 23rd on the king's list, Lu Feng. Yi Tian, so you're the one I'm exchanging with. It seems that the 2 top-grade primary force cultivation secrets you've acquired must be from the Divine Temple space, right? Lu Feng exclaimed in surprise. Correct. Yi Tian nodded in agreement. This is the T-Online Cold Marrow, capable of endowing a martial body with top-tier ice talent. Unfortunately, it's not very effective for king level, only offering a 1% chance of granting top-tier ice talent. I already possess a top-tier attack talent, so this treasure isn't very useful to me. However, a top-grade primary force cultivation secret is useful for me, as I can use it to cultivate my own power, Lu Feng explained. Yi Tian knew Lu Feng was not lying. Lu Feng possessed a top-tier wind spear talent, and top-tier ice talent was of little use to him. Moreover, as a martial king, the chance of generating top-tier ice talent was less than 1%, it was highly likely that it would only yield a medium-tier ice talent. Therefore, exchanging the T-Online Cold Marrow was the most profitable choice for him. Alright, let's proceed with the exchange, Yi Tian suggested. The two made oaths and then began the exchange. Lu Feng browsed through the two top-grade primary force cultivation secrets Yi Tian provided and was delighted. These are excellent top-grade primary force cultivation secrets, even better than the ones I practice. Although they are a bit peculiar, in this era when beast corpses are not rare, using these two cultivation secrets to cultivate my forces is more than appropriate. Great, then it's a pleasure doing business with you. Yi Tian smiled slightly. After this exchange, Yi Tian left. He didn't plan to exchange the remaining treasures, he had only exchanged what was needed. Now, he had another important task, to go to the Demon Sea base and bring his sister Yiyu over. Having been in Zonghai Super Base for so long, he had learned that there was only one way to get a martial body below king level to join Zonghai Super Base, a recommendation from a saint level. However, a saint level had only one recommendation slot. Once used, it couldn't be used to recommend another martial body to join Zonghai Super Base, unless an emperor level intervened. A martial emperor could bring a whole family into Zonghai Super Base, regardless of the number of members. Since the strongest forces in the Super Base were at the emperor level, the base naturally welcomed the addition of martial emperors, offering various generous treatments. The more martial emperors joined, the happier Zonghai Super Base was, as it directly strengthened their power. Previously, Yi Tian was only at king level, and even ranked on the king list. However, no matter how powerful he was not at the saint level and didn't have the right to let a martial body join Zonghai Super Base. This was a rule that couldn't be broken. But now, Yi Tian had stepped into saint level and naturally had the right to bring his sister Yiyu over. Back at home, Yi Tian asked Xiao Shui, I'm planning to go back to the Demon Sea Major Base to bring my sister over. Do you want to come along? No, I need to cultivate. Xiao Shui rejected promptly. Yi Tian understood Xiao Shui's thoughts, he was still affected by the setback. Xiao Shui, who had received the Dragon Clan's inheritance and made rapid progress recently, had comprehended a profound technique. His top-tier strength talent had evolved into a pseudo-mystic level, and in terms of power, he was even comparable to a 4-star king-level powerhouse. Unfortunately, the gap with Yi Tian was too wide, and now that Yi Tian had ascended to saint level, the setback felt by Xiao Shui was even greater. Despite cultivating even harder recently to comprehend more profound techniques and catch up to Yi Tian's strength, the pressure was immense. Then I'll go alone. Yi Tian patted Xiao Shui's head and then turned to leave. Chapter 160. The Fall of the Yu Family Patriarch. Chapter 160. The Fall of the Yu Family Patriarch. When Yi Tian traveled from the Demon Sea Base to Zonghai Super Base, he was always cautious, but now, returning to the Demon Sea Base, he had no such concerns. Moreover, his speed was much faster than before. He quickly crossed the Changeling River and traversed hundreds of thousands of kilometers, returning to the Demon Sea Base. From a distance, the Demon Sea Base appeared peaceful, with no noticeable changes from before. Yi Tian didn't forcefully penetrate the base's protective array but instead entered through a gate. Soon, news of Yi Tian's return to the Demon Sea Base spread. Inside a villa, brother, you're back. Yi Yu ran over joyfully upon seeing Yi Tian. Xiao Jin and Xiao Zi, who were nearby, also jumped around excitedly, pleased to see Yi Tian, a familiar face. Yi Yu, you've made good progress. You're already at the peak of a great martial warrior. Yi Tian praised, feeling relieved inside. Fortunately, his sister Yi Yu was just a top-level cultivation talent, and her cultivation speed wasn't fast. Even with the help of advanced cultivation chambers, her progress was slowed due to her talent limitations. Moreover, she practiced intermediate-level body refining techniques, so her progress was even slower. If she had already stepped into the Grandmaster level, it would have been much harder to upgrade her talents. It's good that I came in time. If I had been a month later, it would have been terrible. Yi Tian thought to himself, feeling immensely fortunate. This time, he planned not only to enhance his sister Yi Yu's talent but also to build a perfect foundation for her cultivation. In reality, at this stage, building a perfect foundation might not mean much for his sister, as her attack amplification was far from 100 times. However, Yi Tian was determined to build this perfect foundation for her. Without it, she wouldn't be able to develop pseudo-mystic talents, limiting her future combat capabilities. Refining the skin, flesh, bones, blood, and breaking the limits of the internal organs, Zonghai Super Base has corresponding treasures for all these. Although these treasures are extremely expensive, and even top-notch powers struggle to cultivate a few talents with perfect foundations, I can afford it just for cultivating my sister. Yi Tian planned to prepare the treasures for building a perfect foundation for Yi Yu after returning to Zonghai Super Base. Brother, I have been diligently cultivating, Yi Yu said, clenching her fists with determination. Good, my sister is the most hardworking. Here, brother has brought you a little gift. Yi Tian took out a bottle of medicine, which was a talent pill capable of transforming a martial artist's talent to the Morning Star level. Its value was inestimable and could cause a stir among emperors in Zonghai Super Base. Many emperors, descendants, just because their talents were only extraordinary, struggled to progress even if they reached the saint level with other exceptional talents. Hence, the value of a talent pill was immensely significant. What is this? Yi Yu asked curiously. A talent pill, it can transform your cultivation talent to the Morning Star level. Yi Tian explained. Morning Star level? What level is that? Yi Yu was puzzled. You know about the extraordinary level cultivation talent, right? The level above extraordinary is the Morning Star level. Yi Tian said. Ah, then this pill is too precious. Brother, you should take it. Yi Yu refused. The probability of having an extraordinary level cultivation talent was already slim in the Demon Sea base, and a family that birthed someone with such talent could rise to become a top-notch great family. A treasure that could enhance a top-level cultivation talent to the extraordinary level was almost impossible to find, let alone its immense value. But now, her brother had brought out a treasure that could transform her talent to the Morning Star level. Such a treasure might not even be obtainable by trading the entire Demon Sea base, it was too precious. Xiao Yu, my talent is higher than the Morning Star level. Don't worry, go ahead and take it. Yi Tian reassured her with a smile. Seeing that Yi Tian was serious, Yi Yu finally took the talent pill. Boom, the transformation began. Yi Yu endured unimaginable pain, and after half an hour, her talent truly transformed to the Morning Star level. After resting for half an hour, Yi Tian then took out the T-Online Cold Marrow. Little Yu, you have basic level ice talent, which is decent among ordinary people, but it's still not good enough. This is the T-Online Cold Marrow, it can transform your ice talent to the top level. You should also take this. Brother, Yi Yu was deeply moved by her brother's generosity. The treasures Yi Tian provided were incredibly rare and valuable, and he had offered them one after another. She didn't refuse them, understanding that becoming stronger was the only way to avoid being a burden and to be able to help her brother. After taking the T-Online Cold Marrow, Yi Yu seemed to be encased in ice. Half a day later, Yi Yu woke up, and the ice on her body had disappeared. Yi Tian checked her talents using his copy talent ability and found a significant transformation. Human, Yi Yu, cultivation talent, Morning Star, ice talent, top level. Not bad, the transformation to top level ice talent was successful. Yi Tian was very satisfied. Unfortunately, it was difficult to find items that could enhance weapon-related talents, or else he would have definitely sought one for Yi Yu. Sister, don't cultivate for the time being, and definitely don't try to break through to the Grandmaster realm. Yi Tian instructed solemnly. Okay, Yi Yu nodded without asking why, trusting her brother and believing that he had her best interests at heart. You're such a good girl, Xiao Yu. Yi Tian patted her head affectionately. He then explained his plan for building a perfect foundation for her, which made her realize the significance of his instructions. Brother, are we leaving the Demon Sea base soon? Yi Yu asked. Yes, pack up, and I'll visit the Yu family before we leave, Yi Tian nodded. Packing didn't take long. Yi Tian asked Yi Yu to wait at home while he visited the Yu family alone. However, he was met with an unexpected turn of events. Lord Yu Ling, the only king-level member of the Yu family, had died. In a pavilion, Yi Tian and Yu Ling sat chatting. Yu Ling had become much more mature, losing her former girlish demeanor, and appeared steadier after surviving the beast tide and various incidents. But Yi Tian could still see a hint of anxiety in her eyes. Without their only king level, the Yu family was facing difficult times. How did your family's patriarch fall? Yi Tian asked. Yu Ling sighed. Not just our family patriarch, but about a dozen king levels from the base also fell. It's related to that spatial rift. What happened? Wasn't that rift sealed? Did powerful king beasts come through? Yi Tian frowned. No, Yu Ling shook her head, then explained, it was the sea beasts that came through, ambushing the king levels guarding the top-level array. The king levels from the 3 bases had to rush over and fight those sea beasts. Our patriarch fell in that battle. Now, Yun Mengli and other invincible king levels from the other bases are guarding the rift to keep it secure. Yun Mengli is back. Yi Tian was surprised. He hadn't seen Yun Mengli during his time in Zonghai Super Base, and he hadn't sought him out. Given his fame, he had expected him to. Now, he finally understood. Yun Mengli had returned to the Demon Sea Base much earlier and was unaware of his achievements in Zonghai Super Base.